All right, hello, Premiere. It's the long-awaited, long arrival of the podcast. You guys have been begging for it. Not really, but you've been bitching about it ever since they said I could do it. So fuck you guys. Here it is. The special co-host today, I'm joined by Prod.
What up?
All right, and we're going to get into it. It's going to be a fun podcast. I can't wait. We're going to get a lot of interesting reactions. I already know it. We have some actual grades for you guys. Like we're the developers of Madden. We have grades for each individual person. So a lot of you guys are going to be annoyed about that. That's going to be very interesting. Tino C, obviously, feedback, comment. All you guys are too scared to actually come on, but as you guys can see on the screen right now, we have some interesting questions I asked certain users who are always in the chat. Everyone answered except Sky. For some reason, he hates me, but that's fine. We'll get into that in a little bit. But we're going to ask Prod these questions. He's not prepped. He's never heard the questions. I intentionally kept them away from him. And so we're just going to start it off there. So, Prod, which division other than yours is the hardest in Premier this year?
Um, you're right about being unprepped for that. Let me think about it for a second.
Look it up. You got lists, all types of lists. I can give you my answer first since you are unprepped. I'd go NFC South, even though they just lost Zach. I still think Gutta and Sky. It's the only division to me where I think there are two serious Super Bowl contenders who can kind of compete for it all year. We've obviously seen what Gutta's done in the past. He's the only guy a couple years ago that broke through done, which was very impressive. Whooped my ass in the Super Bowl. And Sky, obviously, Sky always gets caught in a tougher division / conference to me, mainly because he always wants the Saints, so he's always in the NFC. The NFC always has a loaded team, so I would go with the NFC South.
Don't sleep on Smash. I keep hearing he's supposed to be some great cheesy player and has all this stuff up his sleeve. So we'll see how that goes too.
I'm sleeping on him. I'm definitely sleep on Smash. Don't care, have to see it here. Nope. Plus, if he's cheesy, people will just bitch and he'll be gone anyway. So
Yeah, probably. You're right.
I know how this works.
All right, I'm gonna have to go with the NFC North because you have Juan, the wannabe GOAT himself. You got Real in there. He always, is a tough out. You have A-Dub when his head's in the right place. He can beat anybody on any given day. And Pop, he's dealt a tough hand with the Lions, so that's going to make it tough. I've seen him play well before. I mean, he's beaten me before. Not that that's saying much. But,
that's big.
but I mean, he's not like a complete bum, He can hold his own. So I'm going to have to go with NFC North.
Interesting. I want to get more into Real in a minute. I have such a different opinion on Real than everyone else in this league. I think it's crazy. We'll get into that when we talk about the overalls as well. But that's interesting. Obviously, Juan, he's a competitor. He's champion. Call him the wannabe GOAT. He's right there with, me. I'll just be honest with it. 1 and 1A or 1A and 1B, no matter how really you slice it, even though all of a sudden I was talking all this shit. All of a sudden he starts talking. He didn't say shit when I was in his conference. Now that I'm away, boy, you're overrated. I destroyed you last Madden. You can say that shit when he's around. Luckily, we play season 1, so I'm going to beat him like a drum. Cannot wait for that. But yeah, I mean, a couple people said NFC North. Gabe said NFC North, which I thought was very interesting. A lot of people also, just going to throw that out there because people were saying it, NFC East getting a lot of love, which I can kind of see. You got Ramp and Appo. My only thing about them is Ramp is just so bad at building teams that he never competes.
Yeah.
So by the time season 3 rolls around, he's done. And Appo just trades for these old dudes. And by the time people catch up to him / he learns his cheese plays, everyone already knows how to beat him. So, yeah, neither one of them has done anything the last couple of years. Neither one of them has made a Super Bowl in Madden 17 or 18. Ramp probably won in 16. I don't remember. That was my first year. I'm assuming he did, but 17, 18 kind of is my cutoff for Madden relevance. And to me, neither one of them has gotten it done recently. All right, here you go. I already know your answer to this, so I'm just going to ask. Who's the best user in Premiere if you can't pick yourself?
Best user, I have to pick you. Well, all right. Do you mean like stick skills or just overall user?
Up to your interpretation. That's how I've asked everyone.
I'm gonna just go overall, then I'll say you. Uh, well, I'll get into the other rating type stuff when we do that, but I'll just say you as far as overall user in terms of who I've played.
If I can't pick myself, I'd have to say Juan, and that makes me sick to my fucking stomach. But I have to go there. And to me, based off what I saw last year, if not Juan, there's such a big drop off between. So, like, I think Gutta as a coach is right there, but last year his team was so destroyed around season 2 or 3 because he had all these old dudes. He had Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, which were nice at first, but it was a running game at first, so it didn't really suit the game. Then when Madden obviously does what Madden does, is update it to a passing game around year 2, 3. Gotta kind of those guys were too old to make impacts. You know what I mean? So, and as opposed to what he did 2 years ago, which was, I mean, he built the perfect team to beat Dunn, and then had the 99 speed running back, which just was a pain in the ass. 18, his team kind of wasn't up there nearly to that level, and even though I think he's probably a top coach, as a GM, I wouldn't put him right there behind me and Juan. Rain is right there too, but because as a GM, he's great. Obviously, we're gonna get more into this later. But as a coach, Rain, I just don't see it sometimes. I just watch too many games where he falls into the same trap of just scramble, 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 as opposed to just running the ball with the running back or just making short, easy throws. If he did that, if Rain was a better coach, he would be the best person in this league. That includes me. Because around season 3, if he was ever able to win in season 1 or 2, it would be dangerous. Because he somehow manages to scam the same fucking people every year. Can you guys please stop giving him your fucking picks, please? Stop doing that this year. Can we not give him 5 top 10 picks to have every draft? I don't care who he has. Don't do it.
Well, Baloo's gone this year, so you don't got to worry about that, hopefully.
Oh, God, it won't matter. It's always someone. It's always somebody. He figures it out quick. I swear he's like in people's PMs or DMs right now. So he like knows your bet. He's like, hey, you want to make a trade? And it comes out. You know, I don't know what he does, but he always scams people. Very good at building the players up, and it should be interesting with the XP and everything this year, how he's going to do that. But we gave him Lamar Jackson. Not we. Y'all gave him Lamar Jackson. So it should be interesting.
I could put him behind the 8 ball, though, with having a team like that and then having Zach in his division. He might be trying to play catch-up, so we'll see. He's going to have to balance trying to win his division while also trying to develop, the young guns on his team also. So that should be interesting.
I will say that's very interesting. They are not a very young team all around.
Yeah.
So they're kind of an older team. They're a team really it's mediocre. They're older and they're not very good. But he's got Lamar. So I honestly, what you might see, and this would be crazy, but I think if he builds Lamar to what he wants to build him as, I think he might be in a position where he trades him for a lot just to build the rest of the team. And then year 3 or 4, he goes for another young quarterback with speed. Because as we watched last year, he had Braxton Miller for most of the year. It was very interesting, but the rest of the team was loaded. And then he got the other dude. I forget his name. Was it Michael? I forget his quarterback's name.
He named him like Makai something.
Yeah, Makai something. And so that was the plan last year because I forget, was it PMT gave him a fucking first overall, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, the one thing that's been holding him back has been the lack of a quarterback. Then he got one and went to the Super Bowl because duh. But AFC was weaker, so he couldn't really beat the real competition in the NFC. But I mean, yeah, he's very good at building. So I would look if he builds Lamar quick enough, which is obviously now that I don't have Sam Darnold, he can do because he's going to win Rookie of the Year. No one's really in the way, and everyone always overlooks that. The reason you want a rookie quarterback is to get that Rookie of the Year, and then you get the XP.
Right.
Lavon's going to ruin Sam Darnold's career. Who else is a rookie? Rosen with the Cardinals. No. I don't remember the Cardinals is. No, that division.
Just lost, but yeah,
Nope. And then who the fuck else? And then oh god,
Alpha with Josh Allen.
that's interesting. You're right, but Alpha kind of plays a balanced style. He wouldn't try to force a Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that's true.
Try to force it. And then you have Baker Mayfield with Ron, and that's God.
Yeah, his career's done.
Ruined. So
That's kind of sad. That's why I was hesitant to give him the Browns. But at the same time, he's such a fan, I just had to do it.
it's kind of sad.
But yeah, that's a lot of talent on that team. That sucks to see them just do nothing. Basically, like last Madden too, to be honest.
Like every Madden. Well, last Madden, Zach had him, and Zach started off pretty well, but then
and then he left, and we know how that goes. And
then that became the revolving door.
yeah.
So 3. What did you think of the team selection process this year? I'm going to answer this first because obviously you're the commissioner. I thought – so my personal opinion is I don't really care. And I told him, give me whoever. It doesn't matter to me. I think if you're a top 5 user in this league, that's what your approach should be. I'm talking directly to you, Juan. Yes, I'm talking directly to you. Now, what is a little unfair is Sky keeps getting the Saints every year. Gutty keeps getting the Falcons. But – I mean, you can't really give him the B-Day because obviously we saw how that ended up, and he's too volatile, to really get that team. But I think if you're a top 5, 6 user, you shouldn't care. I think if you're a bottom tier user, you should care a lot more. But most of the bottom guys we're getting strong teams, so I think it adds a balance to the league. I'm okay with having an aging team. I mean, they're going to be good year 1, but we're going to have problems building in the future. Juan has my team who, with Mitch, with Jordan Howard, I mean, they have tons of talent. Leonard Floyd, I don't know how good he'll be this man, but if he's anything like he was last man, he was literally the only guy on defense who I would not move. So to me, I don't really see much of an issue of it if you're a top guy. If you're a bottom guy, they gave you a better team than maybe you thought, or maybe you would get otherwise. The only scary part, I would say, is the newer guys getting kind of better teams, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that's part of this, and we'll kind of see what happens because it's it's like a real draft. I mean, if you're the best player, you shouldn't get the best team. Just a fact.
Yeah, that's normally how it goes. And I finally get to kind of explain my thought process when I was picking the teams too. Part of it was, like you said, how good the user was. Part of it, I tried to ask who people wanted so I could play that into it. Part of it was fandom because I know people are a little more into it when they're using their own team. So there's actually a lot of people that have their home teams or whoever their favorite team is. So that was kind of important to me so that at least hopefully that keeps more people engaged longer. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, Reagan actually didn't want New England. So that's why you see him in Houston. Matt turned down the Eagles. So that's why you don't see him in Philly. But for the most part, I mean, tried to keep things balanced as well. Nard leaving kind of hurt. So I had to make some last-second adjustments. Part of the reason why you saw me flip Zach over to the AFC. Because maybe the NFC, I still don't think the NFC was ever way better than the AFC, but it was slightly. So I'm hoping that moving Zach to where I put him in Cincy balances things out a little. And we got we got two new people in the NFC, I believe, and we got a couple in the AFC. So that's kind of just how I tried to do things, and then we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, we'll get to the newbies later. It's very interesting what's going on in the league, and that's why I think I don't want to say necessarily on name brand, I'll put it like that, NFC stronger, but I don't know what these dudes in the AFC are. To me, that's way more dangerous. I'd rather a dude that I know who's about 11, 12, he's not really going to cause me a problem in the playoffs at the end, rather than a guy who's completely random. I don't know how he plays. For those who don't know, Your Mom Sucks, that guy. He won a Super Bowl in grid. That's going to be very interesting. Ty is a very interesting case study in that division with John and Reagan. Obviously, we still need the Colts. But that's very interesting. So you have a couple of things. going on really, and Alpha, obviously, you guys don't remember. And people just neglect this when they were saying that Real's better than Alpha. Alpha came into the league, was about to beat Real in a playoff game, and literally gave the game away, which I couldn't believe. But Alpha, he won a Super Bowl in grid, obviously, in year 2, right after your mom sucks. And then he did. We played a lot in Elite, so he really pushed me there before that league crumbled and folded like a chair. But year 1, I mean, me and Alpha, Prod, you were there, I believe, right?
Yeah, I was in there.
Yeah, that was he held me to 7 points, and I won 7-6, but it was crazy. I mean, like, and no one does that. Like, if you're gonna beat me, normally it's with my defense. My defense isn't that good, but like offensively to hold me to 7, I was like, geez, this dude. He did have Seattle, but I was like, I couldn't do shit. I was like, what the fuck? So to have him in my division is kind of gonna be annoying. Till I figure him out. But so yeah, I think it's a little more balanced than people want to say. Obviously, you got the big names, Sky, Gutta, Juan, Real. Even Dub has made noise in the past. Ramp, Appa, all the big names are in the AFC or in the NFC, I should say. But it's gonna be very interesting to see kind of how that plays itself out. I'm interested. And let's just be honest with this. No one saw Juan coming last year. I knew he was good. I didn't think he was going to come out the bat, win a Super Bowl, and then win 3. I don't think anyone.
I'll tell you what, last Madden, well, you could say this Madden, whatever, was the perfect game for how he plays in general. So I think Madden 18 kind of just played right in his hand with the running and the defense and the usering.
Yep.
It was just basically made for him to win Super Bowls. The same as Zach the year before. It was made kind of just how Zach uh, plays. I mean, I don't want to keep harping on stuff in other leagues, but he did go undefeated in grid. That's kind of, you want to call that an outlier? I don't think we'll ever see that out of Zach again, not an undefeated season in any league. So I think a lot of it just has to do with developers designing the game. Sometimes you'll see new people rise up. So I'm kind of excited to see who the surprise user is this year that pops up, because there's always one.
Yeah.
So
There's always that person who's like good, but then one year they just rise into being, a true competitor. And boy, I wish the game would make it so it's made for me one year. That'd be great. That would be amazing. I just gotta figure the shit out. I never get those cookie like, thanks game. Let's make it so like passing is super easy. And I don't even know. I don't even know what a game design for me would be like.
I don't know. I guess the one that was made for me was 25, and that's considered like the worst Madden. But I won plenty of Super Bowls in that one. That read option and all that shit was perfect for me. So I guess it's just comes around. It'll be someone else's turn this year, I guess.
There was no Madden 16, right? 25 was the 16?
25 was right after Madden 13.
13, okay. Mine would have been 16 then because I won shit ton of Super Bowls. We were still in Elite. I beat Ramp and he was so pissed. He was like, I play in Premier, you can't do shit. And then the first year I was in Premier, I won a Super Bowl. So, but that was actually 17. But 17 I didn't win again. 17 was frustrating. Or no, that was 16. Sorry, that was 16. 17 I didn't win any. By the way, speaking of Matt, since you mentioned them and how he didn't want the Eagles, I would want no part of my favorite team because I went to the Super Bowl 4 times with the Eagles and lost every time, and that shit just sucked twice as bad. I was like, really? I was like, this is okay. This is great. So I'm picking my team, and now they're cursed in Madden too because I keep playing Dunn. Can't beat him. Got Gutta, and then if you guys remember, there was that Hail Mary flip back bullshit, which I'll never forget. It was he threw the ball, pitched it back, and got a Hail Mary touchdown out of it because he pitched it to the 99 speed guy, and I lost by 7. And I'm like, I hate this game. That game was bullshit. But so here's 4. You're gonna love this question. If you had to pick one person to be the first to quit or get kicked from the league, who would it be?
Well, that's easy, Gabe. I don't know about. Well, probably quit or get kicked, either one.
A resounding favorite was Gabe. I think the only person who didn't pick Gabe, I want to say, was Gabe.
Give him what, 5-2 odds.
Yeah, they're pretty high. He picked Lewis, the first one to be gone. So
He goes ghost. He doesn't really get
doesn't really lead.
kicked and quit. He kind of hangs around a while. He just kind of disappears. I got some others ahead of Lewis, though.
Some people pick Smash just because of the tough division, or Sarita because of the tough divisions. I think the tough division thing is a very real thing. If Gabe ever manages to make it past a year or two, some of these people, I would have picked Smash before if Zach was in that division, because that would have been like, what the hell are y'all doing to this guy? Like, you're throwing him to the absolute wolves and giving him no chance. Yeah, I obviously I'm gonna say Gabe. It's pretty. He's close to getting kicked now. I can just feel it. If Regan was still in charge, he'd probably been kicked already. I don't know what. I'm not paying like too close sets to it. He's probably done something where he's like, all right, like Gabe, you gotta relax. We don't want to see your eggs in milk. Like, what the fuck was that? What did I wake up to this morning?
Yeah, what was that about?
I don't even know. This is healthy. The fuck? No, it's not. The eggs are, but not the anyway. Regardless of that, 5. This is another good one. Who's the most annoying person in the chat?
That's the same as the previous question. Well, hold on now. Nah, I'm gonna give that to Juan.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you gotta give that to Juan. He's like the ultimate annoying troller. Yeah, that's Juan. Edges out Gabe by a hair.
It's very close. And it's funny. Juan said Gabe. Gabe said Juan. so they don't even like each other. They both think each other's annoying. It was interesting because you'd think normally in a troll situation they would at least like each other, right? Nope.
Right.
They both find each other very annoying. Gutta had the best answer to me. He said Juan at first, and he was like, wait. Next message was like, sorry, Gabe. Forgot he was back. So that had to be my favorite answer. Yeah, it's tough. Here's the thing, all right? I think it's Gabe. But what annoys me about Juan is if he would just be, I don't even know who he is. If he would just be himself, whatever that person is, that's fine. He just does a lot of sneak dissing. Like, I think the reason I'll admit it, I'm annoying as hell. But what I'm not is fake. And so if I say some shit, I'm not gonna back off of it. All last night, I was like, I'm gonna win. And if I lost, I was like, ooh, okay. Like, it's not gonna be like, oh, like this happened, that happened. I'm gonna make excuses. Or it wasn't like, oh wow, he's so good or he's so good. It was like, he's good. I'm just gonna beat him. This makes it more interesting. Why the hell would I say someone's gonna beat me? Juan, on the other hand, every week was like, oh, Levon's going to beat me this week. Oh, shit. Ron's going to beat me. Oh, my God. Like, this dude's so much better. And you're like, Juan, you're 15-1. Shut the hell up.
There used to be a guy in the league named Bay Area. He used to do that a lot, too. I don't really know what the psychology is of why some people do that. Maybe they need that to feel like an underdog or something.
Oh, being a bitch. There's no psychology. It's just being a pussy. Oh my God. It almost makes me it's so bad it made me wish I was like, man, I wish Ramp was good because at least he would shit talk back and then I would get the satisfaction of beating his ass. Like I gotta try to find Juan, get him to say some actual shit. So I just keep poking him. I'm like, Juan, your ass. Like just say something. Please. Because I love it. I love the added like now there's pressure. I mean, it's a video game. There's no real pressure. There's like, all right, they're gonna talk shit if I lose, so now I gotta win. Very simple. I want to shit talk someone in my division, but Levon's terrible and Alpha doesn't talk. So it's gonna be boring. Another boring. That's why I did that shit with the Packers last year. I was like, I gotta do something, man. He's gonna keep talking. I'm just gonna keep talking.
Oh yeah, that guy. I forgot all about him already.
Yeah, because that's how quick I got him up out the club, Prod. Got him out so quick. I was like, yo, why are y'all doing this to this man? I called it, didn't I? I was like, in a season, he'll be gone. Why are you guys doing this to this man? Then I beat him by 40 twice. And bye-bye. He was gone.
Well, I knew it was a problem when he let me beat him by like 30-something points a couple weeks earlier. I was like, well, he's definitely not really beating anybody of relevance in the league. I think he went on to win like maybe one game or something before he left, 2 games.
Where I smoked them twice. At least he let me beat him twice. That's good. John me and John had an interesting. Let me think. Baylor Dub would try to talk occasionally, but that's only the 1 year he was good. See, when he wasn't good, he didn't say shit to me. That's annoying too. I also dislike that. If you're gonna like not say anything, don't say anything. That's fine. When you're up, don't say shit. Be a GGA. You know, just chill. Be chilling. But I hate that. I hate that shit. I hate that shit so much. 6. If there's anything you could change about Premiere, what would it be?
That's a good question. I would say I wish it wouldn't fizzle out. I mean, I guess this is unavoidable to any leagues, even though I have joined some leagues that are still going. But I guess I wish it wouldn't fizzle out as early as it's tended to. I think there was 1 year, which happened to be the year I quit early, where it went until like June or July or something. But usually it tends to be done around, I don't know, I'm going to say April or May. So if we just go a little longer, be a little more. That's why I'm trying to make it a little more engaging with the updating the daddy leagues and the podcast and
You're welcome.
all this. What's that?
I said you're welcome.
Yeah, and updating the site and all that and making a Twitter page for the league. You know, I'm trying to do like a lot of cool stuff to get people more interested, you know, year round. Mm-hmm. So I think the one thing I wanted to change, I kind of am changing, basically.
6 is a very interesting one. A lot of people had a lot of different answers. Some don't like the 5 picks rule. I'm sure you can guess that was Rain and Zach, obviously, because they used to support those things. I agree with that to a certain degree. But you also,
I didn't like it either, but
it's.
I see why it's needed.
I see why I don't like it, but people keep making the same dumbass trades. It's like, so there's a rule in the NBA called the stipend rule, right? Where an NBA team can't trade their back-to-back first-round picks. It's literally a rule because this guy in the 80s for the Cavs traded so many first-round picks that he basically made the Lakers. I mean, he helped get them James Worthy. I don't remember he helped them get Magic Johnson, I believe, with his draft picks. And so he just kept trading them, and other teams kept getting good off of them. And so they made that rule. So that's kind of what's happening here. You've seen it, and I don't remember, was it Rain necessarily? It was kind of Rain. There were other guys doing it, but so maybe it's called the Rain rule. I don't really know, but
yeah, I think
was it Dunn
doing it? Dunn benefited from it the most because that year where he got
right. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, keep going.
No, that was it.
You're right. Gutta did benefit the most. You call it the Gutta Rain rule because that and see, guess who the dumbass was in that situation?
I think that was that LeVon?
Yes, it was LeVon. Stupid ass. Giving Gutta rings. He traded, what did he fucking trade? Like 2 top 5 picks for DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller. And when it happened, everyone was like, what the fuck is he doing? And then Reed, who was like his consultant or whatever, was like, he's trying to make a push. And we were all just like, what? A push for what? The fuck? Next thing you know, Gutta has a 99 speed running back, 290, like 5 overall corners. And I mean, honestly, it kind of worked because that was the year of the cheese. So it was either he was going to win with his draft picks or Dunn was going to win with his 99 speed. So it was like, all right. There were a lot of problems that year. The XP was too high. Speed was too easy to change. That year had a lot of kind of small issues. But yeah, it happens. I see why the rule's needed though, because you idiots keep fucking making dumb trades. Stop trading first round picks for 28-year-old left guards. Please stop doing it because it's stupid. Just like don't do it. Don't do it unless you're in contention. You know,
that's acceptable. If you just need that final piece and you're trying to, you know, make a push and you think you're going to go deep in the playoffs, I can see it then. But I agree with you.
Here's a tip. Pro tip. Never trade for a quarterback. Ever. Don't do it. Just don't do it. That's where most of these picks come from. Don't trade for a quarterback. because you can either draft you need build every Madden the quarterback means so little it's not even funny. Now last year was an exception. I mean, I won basically because Mitch was really good, but like he was a rookie obviously. So I had to zig where everyone else was at. Everyone kept running, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. But the other reason I won was because the wide receivers were good, the O-line was good, Jordan Howard was a beast, and the defense became very fast. You build everything else and you get the quarterback last. Just trust me. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, Juan won with two different ones, I believe. He had Mahomes and he had Dak. It didn't really matter. Quarterback ultimately doesn't matter. I mean, Dunn, when he won 3, he had 2 different quarterbacks as well. So you look at the people who have really had success, they don't really have great quarterbacks. I won one in 17 with Ryan Mallett. Ryan won one right after me. He beat me with a shitty quarterback, and I had Russell Wilson that year. The only quarterback I remember really, really being great off the jump and I like Gutto won in 17 with 2, like with I forget who his quarterback even was. He was like just a
that
guy.
dude wasn't good. I remember that quarterback too. It was some black dude he had.
Yep. Some black dude beat me in a Super Bowl. Fuck that. But like, yeah, and I mean, the only guy I remember really doing it with a great quarterback who they, because most of them don't trade. They trade for the pick to get the draft pick to get the quarterback. You don't. I've never seen anyone compete with a traded for quarterback, not actually win a Super Bowl. And I don't really count Mahomes because Mahomes he got for Dak, and I think he got another pick from that, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, because he sent
Dak,
and he sent his. Who did he send? He sent him because that was my brother. He sent him like a lineman or something. It was 99 overall.
Yeah. And so, pro tip: don't trade for quarterbacks. Just trust me.
It's funny. That's like the opposite of real life, where you need a quarterback.
Yep.
Madden's the complete 180.
Yeah, Madden keeps saying they're going to add actual QB accuracy. They don't do it. Just trust me, because I was winning with backup quarterbacks. It's not that. It's more so about making the right decisions and just the simplest thing is don't throw off your back foot. I mean, if you just know, don't try to throw it off the run, and then you won't have overthrows. Don't make difficult passes. Not that hard. Don't trade for quarterbacks, guys. Please stop giving Rain all your picks. Those are my 2 things that I have. 7. What's your favorite thing about Premier?
The core users that come back, I'd say year after year, that make it a great league.
Mm-hmm.
And the chats are always lit, even when the league is over. Even though half the time it's that shitty gay Fortnite talk in there, but other than that, that's what makes the league, fun to be a part of and to keep commissioning it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, first off, I didn't even answer the last question, so I'm going to get to that real quick. 6, if I could change anything, it would be streams. We need more streams. It's kind of fucking ridiculous. Like, if you're a top 10, top 15 player, just stream. You know how to do it. It's not very hard. We know you want to see your games. There's nothing to hide. It's not a covert mission. It's a video game. It's entertainment. We're here to have fun. Just stream it. I stream every game. No one's caught up to me yet. Just saying. If you're that good, people will think about it. People will think about how you play more than just reacting. And if you're that good, you have multiple game plans. Even after playing Juan a lot, it's not easy to beat him. It's hard as hell. But why is this fucking idiot tagging me in the chat? Juan. Anyway, my favorite thing about Premier has to be how I agree with you. It has to be the continuous. The same users, normally the best ones, come back. Sadly, no GGA, no Nard this year, but it kind of or done. But it builds on itself, and I think you're seeing like long-term things start happening. Prod, you talked about how I've been here since 16. Doesn't feel like that long, but it's it's been 3 years. And Sky's been here longer than me. Gabe, not really, but Ramp, Rain, all these guys. So it's like kind of the league kind of builds upon itself. And even when people leave, you see guys like Juan come in, Real, Gutta. They came in after me. I think Appo was around the same time. No, Appo was before me. But all these guys, it's kind of strange. If you're in the league long enough, you become like a name brand in the league. And then you have a reputation. It's very interesting, actually. I kind of enjoy it. Whereas every other league I'm in, it's kind of the door revolves so quick that, you can't really keep it up. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that everyone in this league, as much as, we love Madden, we aren't in 3-4 leagues. Like, everyone gave me shit. I was in 2 last year for the most part. I was in Elite and then Grid. And I think that way you don't get as burnt out in the game. And that also makes this one, matter a little bit more. When it's like you're competing against the same guys to continuously try to win, And it's also interesting to watch the progression of people. You watch how they get better, like a Zach or a Matt. Still waiting on you, Levon. You're not doing shit. But everyone else you kind of want to see improvement because you see when other people get added, you're like, wow. Like, this guy's gotten a lot better because he's just feasted on these other people. And
Right.
it shows you how strong of a league it is as a whole, which I think is very interesting. Now, 8 was really a free box to talk shit on whoever you want. So if there's anyone you want to talk shit on, feel free. You have all podcasts do that, though. But if you just want to get some quick pot shots out of the way, there's some very good reads in there, too. So I'm not going to read any of them. You guys can look at the PowerPoints we're showing. But Prod, if you have any, go ahead. Feel free. Knock yourself out.
Well, I'm back in the division with my old rival Ramp. We were rivals from 13 and 25 in those Madden, so it was kind of cool to renew that again. And we'll see which one of us rises to the top of the division first. I'm not going to include Apo in that because I really don't see that happening, but who knows? That's all I got on that.
Disrespect. Yet you have them graded higher than you, which I find very interesting.
That's just the way when I averaged everything out, that's how it came out. So maybe I need to tweak that a little. But.
So, by the way, these ratings, are not final because I know for a fact what's going to fucking happen. You idiots are going to screenshot this shit, and then the second something happens, you're going to throw, oh, this was my rating, but, look at how dumb you look now. These are what we call the original Madden 19 ratings, whatever fucking Madden this is. Also, would like to point this out very quick. I personally gave all the rookies, like Sarita, Smash, I gave all of them around a 73, a 72, kind of generic, first time ratings like they would do in Madden. Prod kind of neglected to do them, which is fine as well because, you don't have a read on them. So he just didn't grade them. I just gave them all 73, 72s, kind of basic around the board, room to improve. But, I don't know what to make of you, so I'm not going to give you respect to, do some shit. So that's just me. So we're gonna start with the NFC East. First off, my overalls, Prod this way. Prod has no idea what I graded anyone in this division, actually. So he might be a little upset. I have you as a 78, Ramp as an 87, Apo as an 83. I have Apo's GM as an 88, his coaching is an 80. Ramp's GM is a 78, his coaching is 93. He's just a terrible GM. I have your GM as an 85, coaching is 75. We're gonna get you there. We're going to get you there. And Sarita just as a 73, like I said, generic. So, and just to rehash, because I don't know if you remember, Prod's grades for himself, 83 overall. You guys can look at that other stuff. I'm not going to get into composure stick skill. I didn't really think that much into it. His ramp is an 86, Apo's an 85, and Sarita an A. So, Prod, real quick, go over why you had some of these ratings. Anything interest you about what I had or where you think we differ? We don't differ that much, except on you, actually.
Yeah, I see. That's pretty interesting. I think the way I graded myself was kind of like a B minus, C plus kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
Except I think I'm a great GM because I always build at least top 10 teams, if not top 5, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Ramp here. I gave him 81 for his GM, which might be a little high, but for me that's kind of low though. 81 is not a good grade, but
it's not. But yeah. He's that bad.
Yeah, he might be a little.
Every year you look at Rams teams at year 3, they're terrible. They're awful. They didn't do anything with them.
I may be underrating his coaching a little bit. I put him at 89. He's actually not that bad, and he's usually pretty good at taking what you give him, except he'll get a little flustered sometimes and he will throw some picks. So maybe I got his composure a little high at 87.
Mm-hmm.
Apo coaching 79. Yeah, I got that way too high because he's not a tactician at all. I don't know what I was. That's probably why he's rated ahead of me. 79 coaching. That's way too high. GM 88. He does okay. He can maintain a team. He won't make a great team from scratch, I don't think, but
Mm.
he can maintain one. So I gave him the 88, which bought him the 85 overall. Got Ramp 86 overall. Me 83 and Sarita NA. I didn't do her.
Mhm. I think what's interesting is you have Apo's composure in 88. I would actually put his coaching up and his composure kind of down. He's very good on defense and his stick skills. His usering got a lot better. I remember when he didn't use her at all, but now he adapted and he got much better at it. But I think when I consider coaching, I consider like an original plan. The plan's fine. It's just he'll give you picks because he does not want to throw the ball.
I just think he doesn't have a lot of variety in his offense, so I kind of factor that into the coaching. Like he doesn't do a whole lot,
Mhm.
you know. Like remember, he was one of the 4 play guys on offense.
Yeah, it's bad.
So you can't have a high coach grade and be a 4 play guy. That doesn't go hand in hand.
But
And
the reason I say his composure might be a little high at 88 is because I watched him choke away a couple of playoff games. The Nard one was bad. The blocked field goal one, I don't know if everyone remembers that. And then the one against B-Day where B-Day literally Apple had him beaten. And then all I was thinking the entire time, and I think I was saying this in chat, I was like, dude, if he just plays a 46 defense and just guesses run, Apple will have no answers. And then he did, and Apple fumbled, and I was like, yep. Because, of course, because it's so easy. I was just thinking, it took me a year to figure it out, but last year was just so simple. Just load the box. I never got mad because I loaded the box every. I'm like, yes. If you're gonna just run the ball in I formation, I'm going to load the box. Talking to you, Juan. Juan complained and Nar complained. I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Just let you run it down my throat? No, I'm not going to.
and
Call
Apple leave the I can't even talk. The PA shot plays alone, man. That was his downfall in so many games was
those bad.
PA post and PA shot. Man, just give that a break. Like after someone sees that like 2 or 3 times, they're gonna be waiting for it in the middle of the field. So if he can improve that, I think he actually has a lot of upside. Like I could see him developing and pulling his Zach from 2 Maddens ago.
So here's the thing with Apple, right? He doesn't have confidence in his passing, and it's obvious. So he goes to cheese plays, and those cheese plays will work once, but then you see him, and you're like, all right, if he's gonna do, he doesn't have the variety to like call a random play out of the box. And the thing that kind of Ramp will catch you off guard with a big one. You know, Juan actually does this more than I think people give him credit for. He'll call a pass play when you are least expecting. It'll fuck you up. And he also doesn't make mistakes. The thing with Apple is if you're going to play that style, you can as well throw interceptions.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
he builds a team to where it's running and defense. He's got the running now. The defense for the Cowboys isn't that good, but he can build the defense pretty well. The problem is he turns it over too much in big games, whereas Juan never gave you anything. And that's really just a basic thing, and that's the difference. To where Juan makes you gamble more. Apple kind of lets you play in your style, and then he'll turn it over. But real quick, in the NFC East, the poll results are in. 6 people had Ramp winning, 4 Sarita, 4 Prod, 2 Appo. What are your thoughts on the poll? I don't want you to obviously predict who you think is going to win because you're in it. But what are your just thoughts on those numbers? Appo being last, that's a bit harsh, but it is what it is.
Well, when we get into the other polls, you can tell there's some trolling going on anyway. So you got to take them with a grain of salt as far as what the pulse of the league is. But I mean, there's really no way to know, just like the real life NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, every now and then you can predict, like, yeah, a New England Patriots will go to the Super Bowl. But outside of them, there's no real way to know what's going to happen.
I agree, Prod. I am going to the Super Bowl. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. A nice compliment. But yeah. I think you're NFC East. I think here's the thing, all right, about you, by the way, because I didn't explain my grade on you. I watched you so many times just not do what we practiced, and I was like, what the hell is he? If you would just do it, you'd have been in the playoffs. And I was like, Prod, it's such a weak conference. Just all you gotta do is everything we worked on. So it was like was like a frustration thing. I was like, Prod, come on. Just take an occasional shot and just don't turn it over. It's very simple. That's why. Obviously, I think it can be much better. I've seen you in practice. It's just the game application.
That's why I gave myself that low stick skill. Like I think, like I have good coach ideas on paper, and I think I'm pretty actually diverse on what I try and do on offense. But since only like 20% of it works, you know, the results aren't there. So I'm gonna just try and clean that up a little bit this year. That's why I gave myself the low composure and stick skill rating, because like the knowledge is there, but the execution isn't there. So for me, that's my focus points.
It's a very interesting. I mean, when you're in the thrones of battle, it's very interesting. I like occasionally will just like think to myself. I'll even say it out loud because I'm fucking crazy. I'll just be like, all right, no turnovers. This drive, I have to just remind myself what the goals. I'm like, all right, I'm down 7-3. Doesn't matter. No turnovers. Make them play a full game. And I think for the most part, there's another tip. You want to get if you want to become one of those teams who's 4-12, and you're like, wow, how do I become 11-5? Maybe not a contender because I think that takes some actual ability. But to just be 11-5, it's so simple. Just don't turn the ball over. If you just punt, if you just end every possession in a kick, whether it's a field goal, touchdown, or a punt, people will beat themselves. Because ultimately, you know, you're just like, you try to force it. And just trust me, it makes everything so much easier. You just third, and there's such a difference between 3rd and 10. All right, I'm going to force this pass, or 3rd and 10. All right, I'm going to throw it away. Or what a lot of people should do on 3rd down and don't, just throw it deep. If nothing's open, have a deep route, throw it up, see what happens. If it's incomplete, fine. If it's picked off, you get a tackle, and it's like a punt anyway.
Right. Well, this pass Madden was risky because there were so many return touchdowns.
That's a good point. That's a great point. The thing is, I had tall receivers, so I had Kevin White out there going for, and AJ Green. So I was like, I'm gonna just throw a jump ball and see what the hell happens. If I get a 3rd down, get tall receivers. I don't know. Build a team to where you can do shit like that.
Right.
I'm giving y'all some golden tips, man. This is dojo material. Also, none of you can join the dojo because I asked last year, none of y'all wanted to. So
Yeah, dojo's closed.
dojo is closed.
Not accepting new members.
We have 4 members. They all better make the playoffs this year. That means you.
Well, I got in there that first year of it.
Yeah, it was before I even. Anyway, that means you, Matt, and Pop, because we're gonna go through some serious ass studying. All right, on to the NFC North. Obviously, we have Juan. Item as a 96 overall, 97 GM, 93 coaching. You have 94 overall, 93 coaching, 99 GM. Composure at a 93, 6 95. And I had him graded higher than you because I think we just had a difference on where we graded people. I considered a 99 somewhat obtainable, but I considered it over a 95 to be people who won Super Bowls and could easily win one year one, as far as I know right now. I think you had it to where no one was getting over a 94. That's why you had Juan there. So you're not really discrediting him because looking at your other grades, people will kind of see why you had him at a 94. But he's right there, obviously. Real, this is where we differed a lot. I had him at an 84. You had him at a 90. We'll get more into that in a minute. Dub, you had an 80. I had it at 79. So we're pretty even there. And Pop, you had it at 79. I had it at 75. So actually, I had it at 78, not a 75. Sorry about that. So what are your thoughts on the NFC North? Just at large, you can go with the users, wherever you want to get.
Well, if A-Dub could ever get his in-game emotions in check, that's why I gave him that 60 composure rating, which is by far the lowest I gave anybody by like 20 points or so. If he could ever get that in check, you know, he has enough skill to where he could be, I don't want to say like a Juan or your level, but maybe like right below that, maybe Nard, how Nard was.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I do think he has that much upside, but he just can't get it together as far. It's easier to piss him off in game and throw him off. Like, or just let Madden piss him off and you'll beat him, basically.
That's what I did. He got me once, but pretty much that was the plan.
Real, Again, he's kind of boosted by that 95 composure I gave him. That kind of boosted his overall to 90. Because
Mhm.
overall, everything else I have him, the stick skill grade, which I did exclusively, I had him at 88. His GM, I got him at 88. His coaching is 89. So I have him kind of balanced. And then that 95 composure, when I averaged everything out, I need to weight that a little bit less, but he came up to a 90.
Mhm.
Pop, I gave him the 76 coaching. I haven't played him a lot, but he plays tough. His GMing, he did nothing with the Bucks last year. I mean, to be honest, they were horrible. Stick skill, I gave him 72. Composure, I've never really seen him get rattled or upset in the chat or upset in game. I don't really think. I don't want to say he doesn't care, but he's got other things going on in life. Like I want to say he's an older guy, not like in his 40s or anything, but he's just not that worried about the game enough to where he's going to rattle and mess up. So anyway, that boosted him to 79, that 96 composure, which I think might be the highest I gave anybody.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous grade. I'm going to tell you that right now. Prod is top 5 in interceptions every year. He throws a lot of picks. So
Yeah, he does. I think that's probably part of the not giving a damn.
so how's that a good thing?
It's not, but when I'm thinking composure, I'm thinking like, do you get rattled? Clearly, he's not rattled at all if he's throwing all those picks. Like
It just doesn't
his
give a fuck.
his pick throwing is for a different reason. Like in real life, a QB's throwing a lot of picks to rattle, but it's the opposite. Like with him, he just doesn't give a shit, so he's just gonna keep winging it around.
So he's composed because he just never cares. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, I think the biggest difference we have here, and I really want to delve into this for a little bit, is Real, because everyone has him as so much better than I do. Real has never last year in the weaker AFC. You'll agree the AFC was weaker last year, right?
yeah.
In the weaker AFC, he never. He might have made one conference championship.
He let Lewis win in division 1 year too.
Yes, he let Lewis win a division, which what the fuck? Might have made one conference championship, but I don't know because Rain and Appa were there a couple times. I don't remember who else there was there. It was just like B-Day was there one time. I maybe he got to one, but got like I never really thought of him as even a competitor to get out of the AFC. Got gifted a playoff game and then lost in the next round. Like literally, again, for those who don't remember, Alpha literally lost the game on purpose. He was down one with shot and field goal range and let the clock run out on purpose. He had a timeout. There's no reason for it. But yeah, I just don't see Real as just a nine. Everyone, by the way, was saying NFC North is a tough division because of Real. I like Real. Real's a cool guy. This isn't like a personal attack or anything. I just don't. Never made a Super Bowl in Premier. Never really. And again, part of this might be because we're always in different conferences, but he's never really caused me any big problems. I've never seen him as kind of a threat. And again, he's always AFC 2 years ago when he was in it was a tough conference, and he was in there with Dunn, but he never beat Dunn in the playoffs 2 years ago. He's never really slayed the dragon in the postseason. And so to me, sorry, I don't
To be
really.
honest, he's like a rich man's A-Dub, basically. Like they're kind of the same thing. It's just he doesn't flip out in game, so he has a little bit more consistent results. I think that's probably why everyone was picking that division is being tough because there's not a true Pop was last year, but I don't know, there's not like a true Levon in that division or a Ron in there.
Levant gonna quit after he hears this, man. I'm telling you, that one wasn't even me. I wasn't even thinking about that. Wow, the shot. So many shots. Obviously, I don't think we have to really ask NFC North. No one even did a poll on that. That's Juan's division. It's pretty simple. I think Real is more comparable to John than he is anyone like upper echelon like a Sky, Gutta, Rain. So If I'm being completely honest, I think the division, as much as he wants to bitch about how his division's hard, it's basically the same fucking division I had last year. And because remember, Baylor came out and made the playoffs. Everyone in my division made the playoffs last year. No one talks about that. They all did. Baylor, John, Dub, everyone made the playoffs. Yet my division was weak somehow. Don't know how that works, but okay. I think that this division is possible that Dub and Real make playoffs too. I hope Pop does. We're gonna get in that gym and train. We'll see what happens. But like you said, he doesn't give a shit. So I don't know. I can teach him things he just wouldn't care. So we'll see in the dojo. But yeah, that division's Juan's. He's got an easy playoff berth every year. What will be interesting though is as much as people like to complain about having a tougher division, to me, a tougher division makes it easier to kind of stay focused all year, and it makes it easier to be more prepared when the playoffs come. Because what most people don't remember is, well, hey, I missed the playoffs once because I was just like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then Dub came out of nowhere, won 12 games. I was like, shit, I just missed the playoffs with 11 wins. And B, on one of my Super Bowls, I think that was the one in year 4, I came out so flat because I was like, oh, I was just chilling. I was like, all right, regular season. I hadn't played anyone really that good. I don't think I played. I think Juan gave me a win toward the end of the year, and I was like, all right, this is bullshit. He's not even trying. I came out, played ramp, and was instantly down 21. I was like, okay. Or I was down 17. I was like, all right, this is a different level of competition than I've played all season. Like, this isn't just like a small step up, like, playoff intensity. This is like 2-3 levels above that because these dudes are really fucking good. They're good players. I mean, and it got me when Gutta came out and his offense was fine. I was like, I haven't played an offense like this all year. And I was like, I have no idea how to stop him. He beat me. And so I think really, if you're really a really good user, the division really can be good. Now, the problem is, and we'll get into this right now, is that some divisions are a little too powerful, and then you have another one of those guys who's just as good, and that's where you have issues. And that's what I think NFC South is. And again, this is what you'll see with some of our ratings. I have Sky as a 93. Prod has them as a 90, but I have Gut as a 93. Prod as a 91. So you just see it's just kind of a difference of numbers. Prod sees them as around the same, as do I do, and they're around the same level when you consider how I have Juan as a 96, he's a 94, but I think Prod's just doing more so of a – I'll just guess you're saying no one's a 95 until you win a championship this year. Am I right, Prod?
Yeah, and that's just kind of how it averages out. And I mean, I think too, like the scaling is probably a little different. I probably rate a little tougher in some areas.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all it is.
Oh, yeah, that's very fair. I have Sky as a – yeah, you have him as an 89 as a coach. I have him as a 92. I actually think Gut is a way better coach than a GM. But the GM skills from two – it's so weird because the GM skills 2 years ago obviously gave him rings. But then last year I watched him do it with a team that just wasn't – it wasn't as good as mine or Juan's or Sky's. But his coaching kind of led the way and got him kind of close. So I had that as a 96. PNC is not going to do shit in that division, so we don't have to talk about him. We both have him as a 73, though. Smash just had as a generic 73. You didn't grade him. So what are your thoughts on the NFC South?
That should be fun all year because I really, between Sky and Gutter, I have no clue. And Smash, who knows? PMT years ago was actually pretty good. Again, back in the Madden 25 heyday, he could actually do something. So if he ever gets back to that, we'll see. He was dealing with stuff last year. Obviously, you saw him leave the league early. So maybe that was a factor in his play. Because I know what I was dealing with was a factor in my play for part of the year. So we'll see. Gutter specifically, the reason why I have his coaching at 87, I've never thought like offensively he was that good. He's always been able to run the ball well. I think as a passer, he actually reminds me a lot of myself, except the difference is I'm more inclined to try and throw to people who are open. He's more of a – he really likes those jump balls, whereas I don't trust that shit too much. I won't throw a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not that diverse. Defensively, I think he's a beast, and that's what always gives him a chance to win any game. Sky specifically, I actually don't play him much. I used to joke with him the first few years in the league. I would call him the Sky Week when I played him because I was like, oh, this is an easy win. So he was kind of like LeVon the first couple of years for me when I played him. But he's definitely evolved a lot since then. Uh, the Saints, he had a monster roster last year. I think him and Rain, other than QB, they obviously like share tips because if you looked at their teams, they were very similar in a lot of spots, and I was like,
Some collusion? Oh, we're dropping woes bombs out, prod bombs out.
I was like, Rain's sharing some inside knowledge with Sky or something. I'd never seen him with a team like that before. But again, Sky is one of those ones we're waiting to see them just break through. So if the NFC is as loaded as everyone says, that's going to be tough. But we'll just have to wait and see.
So the thing with Gutta last year, I think that you probably didn't see because I played him a little bit more often. Gutta's, if you figured out what he was doing to you, his decision making wasn't great, but he came with a lot of different formations, and that always fucked me up because I always used to playing guys like Nard and Juan who would do a lot of things in the same formation. I can do that. I can adjust on the fly to a play. But Gutta came out in these weird, like he would have like, oh, 3 wideouts, 1 tight end, 1 running back, and you didn't know what formation they were coming on. Could have been under center, could have been shotgun, could have been all 5 wide, and you'd just be fucked up because you'd be like, all right, well, that's not what it says. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the things he would do kind of in that end would just throw me off. And then he would come out with a lot of screens, just piss me off because I'd be like, all right, now I got to go to a fucking screen all game. And then it'll just be a lot of like little interesting plays that probably I'm grading him higher because it caught me off guard a lot. And it wasn't just at the end premiere, he lit me up like no one scored on me like Gutta did. And he did that to me as well in grid. And we had a shootout. It was like 45-38, which you just didn't see last Madden. And his defense is built on they have weird formations, and if you figure them out, you can get big plays. But it's built on just getting a couple turnovers because he comes out in the weirdest formations I've ever seen. Like some of the stuff he comes out and you're like, what the hell? You're like trying to look and you're like, all right, who's blitzing? Like why is the middle linebacker 20 yards back? Why is a strong safety like playing corner now? What the fuck is going? And then they just move and you're like, oh, I see. It's just confusing. You can't even focus on what you're doing because you're like, all right, it's 3rd and 12 now because he's got good defenses on the other 2 downs. And you're like, now I got to worry about who's blitzing, where do I throw, like what do I do? So it's very interesting. That's why I put his coaching very high, but the pure talent wasn't there. With Sky, I don't think his plays are quite as diverse, and I think his defense isn't as good, but his decision making as soon as the ball is snapped is great. He knows how to throw the ball. He knows how to. He's great at read reacts. Gutta's great before the snap at calling diverse plays and kind of it's almost like he has a script. But Sky just when it happens, boom, boom, boom. He can move it on you. Sky should give some of those tips to Rain if what's happening is actually if what you're saying is happening is actually happening. Teach Rain how to throw the ball because Sky is great at it. The only problem with Sky is he doesn't stay consistent kind of in running the ball because the first time we played, he ran it down my throat. And for some reason, next time we played, he just didn't do that. He beat me another time, but he didn't really run the ball as much as he could have with the Saints. And to be fair, yeah, like you said, the Saints weren't as loaded last year at the beginning of the year. He kind of made them loaded. This year, he's got a stacked deck already, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with them. And the NFC South, the voting, I think on this one's pretty accurate. I don't know if it's accurate, but I think people weren't trolling. Sky had 9, Gut had 4. Now, Zach had 4. This was done before the change-up, so we could guess that PMT wouldn't have gotten any. And maybe those would be split between Gut and Sky. So we'll just say Sky's 11 and Gut has 6. But it's very interesting that people have Sky with that much of an advantage. I think it's much closer than that. I would pick Sky to be the better team, the better player, but it just depends on how Gut builds the team to me. But Sky was better in head-to-head matchups last year, which it's all about matchups, and I think that's interesting. Who do you think is better in that division? You think it's still like close? No edge?
I don't even know who I picked, to be honest. But if I'm going to pick now, even though I gave Gutter the higher overall, I think Sky is going to win it. But it's a toss-up, though.
Yeah, it is. NFC West, boy, this division. I don't even want to talk about this. We got Miles, close. God, Gabe, Brian. So, first off, this is very interesting. I don't know this Brian guy. I don't know who this guy is. You had him as a 90. And
I like the star next to him. The reason why I put that asterisk there is
Mm.
because I did those based off of how he was commissioner of the league. So that is a very long time ago. So
Mhm.
that's basically the way I remember him. I don't know where his skill level is at now. So in all honesty, I could have given him just NAs across the board like I did the other new people.
Mhm.
But because I do remember him, like he was very similar to you, to be honest, when you played him. He was very balanced, uh, didn't make a lot of mistakes, could throw the ball, could run. He basically just took what you gave him. He was usually a pretty good GM. He's usually pretty composed. So that's why he has basically all those 90s across the board. We'll see if he's anything like that now. And then I'll just let you go ahead and get back to the rest of what you were doing. But I just wanted to, you know, throw that out there.
No, that's the most interesting thing about this division to me. I mean, hopefully he's as good as you say is, because then Gabe will have some competition. Because the other two are just no names, and this division is very boring. And I would like someone to shit talk Gabe because it's just more entertaining when that
Yeah,
happens.
and Brian's a shit talker too. So
Oh, is he? Oh, well, never mind. And everyone back the fuck up then, because this then we're gonna have a show. But he's a shit talker, and that's gonna be interesting if he can play up to Gabe. By the way, I had Gabe as an 85. You had him as an 86. We are both very similar grades as far as the coaching and GM. I was coaching at 91, and the GM is an 80. You had his coaching at an 89, GM is an 80. So we both see the problem for Gabe is his teams just end up being awful.
yeah, you can't trade a first round pick for Alshon and expect to be a high GM grade.
That was such a
Believe that was him, wasn't it?
yes, it was. And Levon actually had to fix that mess so bad. And we'll get to Levon later. He actually did a good job to me fixing the team. He just isn't good. But that team was a wreck. Like overall, when he joined, they had bad contracts, old players who weren't good. And I was just looking at it, I was like, God, Lord, man. Until a couple of years, year four, he had pieces that I wanted to trade for, and he wouldn't trade them to. He had pieces I was like, yo, this is interesting. I want to trade for these guys. But
Yeah, I'll tell you how that happened a little bit later on when we get to Levon's grades.
oh, I know how it happened. I know what you're gonna say. But the polls we're in, they have Game or Miles winning, so that's a troll job. Just get Gabe to lose. He had 6 votes. Gabe had 5. Um, Baker had 2. Los 1. Any thoughts?
Well, we pretty much
Miles,
just disregarded the last two, but Loss is so quiet. I don't know much about him. I've only played him like 2 times. I did somehow manage to grade them. I don't know how accurate they are.
it's not accurate.
So
I have him as a 72 to give you an example.
yeah, I think I gave him an 81.
That's
So
why.
I don't know enough about that division. I
Anthony,
can't even really like speak on anything other than Gabe, to be honest.
you made the division, clown. Why'd you make that shitty division? Should have thrown. Well, you can't throw me in the
We
end.
got one in each conference like that. So
That's true. You're right. Actually, while we're doing it, I just want to skip and we're just gonna get to the other division I don't want to talk about. The AFC South. I'm not even it's all you. Tell us why you did any of this. This is
AFC South. Okay, this is Reagan's, right?
Reagan, John, Ty. Go ahead, you take it away. I don't
Uh,
even
Things just kind of worked out that way, to be honest, because I originally had Reagan on the Patriots. He didn't want him. So at the time, well, actually, he wanted the Texans too. That was his choice. So I put him there. John wasn't sure if he was going to be able to start the league right away. So he just kind of fell into the Titans. Ty, Zach just said he really wanted the Jags bad. Now this is gonna piss Juan off because Juan wanted him, but Juan didn't need a damn super team. So I was like, why not just give another new guy a good team, whatever. And then there's no Colts. We don't have a Colts at the moment. We'll see who that ends up being. And then if you want to get into your grades, and then I'll do mine.
I had Reagan as a 74, 70 coaching, 70 GM. You had him as a 79. I had Ty as a 75, you had him as an NA. I had John as a 79, 75 coaching, 83 GM. You had him as an 86, 89 GM, 80 coaching. I think you're kind of more right on that one, actually. I should have him as a higher GM. His teams are always loaded. And he did make the playoffs last year, so I'm probably a little low on that grade. He's probably more of an 81, 82 type of guy with like an 87, 88 GM. He's a very good GM. I would look across actually at playing him when I was the Bears, and his teams would just be. By the way, just to be clear, I did this while high, so like just fucking. I was spitballing. I was like, all right, fucking just throw some numbers together. But I looked across one time and he had fucking Jarvis Landry, Rob Gronkowski, and Matt Ryan. I was like, how the fuck? And he still had the running back, Dalvin Cook, and I'm like, how the hell did he fucking do this without anybody noticing? I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I beat him every time, but the fucking team was loaded. And I'd be like, what the hell?
And then he managed to finesse Cook to Levon for I don't know how many ones, maybe 2 ones. It might have just been one high pick. I don't know. It was something I was trying to tell Levon to not do, but he didn't listen and did it anyway.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a good GM. Coaching, I think I gave his coaching a little low. He actually plays well when we play. He actually beat the hell out of me one game, which made me wait the 4 years to beat him again.
Mm-hmm.
He ran the score up a little bit. Stick skill, I probably could have put that like an 83, but then his overall would be like 90. So I don't know. I think it worked out. He's good at 86. Some people will probably argue with that. Reagan, I have his coaching at 80, GM 80, composure 75. I don't know. Reagan's like a C plus type player. I got him 79 overall. He's not like horrible. He's like a notch below me, basically, is how I see it. He's only beaten me once, so maybe twice. I don't know. That's not very many in 4 years, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's like in a good spot there at 79 overall. And Ty is a recommendation from Zach, so we'll just see how he plays.
Zach said he's good, but Zach, we'll get into Zach in a minute. So here's the thing, actually, why I gave John and Reagan lower ratings to you before we get the hell out of this division. By the way, real quick, people had John winning 7, Ty 5, Reagan 3. People just pick Ty because, God, this division. Whatever the case may be. Bring Nard back as the Colts, man. Just do it. Just get him back and take him, make him the Colts. I ain't scared. It'll be nice competition.
I've tried to get Nard. I think he's just waiting to come back. Right now, he's on the wait list, but he doesn't want to be in from the beginning for whatever reason.
Being fucking weird.
I know he's running grid, and who knows how many leagues he's going to be in. He's one of those Madden beta tester people that got the game early and playing it already. So I know he's in like a developer league. He's got a lot going on the league front. So we'll see if it dies down and he joins a little bit later on.
Huh, that's interesting. Nard, the one who said he doesn't care. He's in a developer league.
God. Yeah, he said he was in a league with like a developer in it or something along those lines. And he has the league with what's that NFL player now? I can't even remember his name. He was actually on the Redskins. The developer might be in that league also. So I don't know. I'll just shut up until I know all the facts. But
yeah, what the fuck? He's in a superstar league? Why couldn't I get in this league? How did Nard sneak his way in this league? You know what? Whatever the case.
Terrence Knighton, that's who it is.
Whatever the case may be, Nard's out here playing video game superstars. He's too good for little old us. Thank you for the insider information, though. Look at that. That's some reporting getting done over here. But what I will say is I think I have John and Reagan rated a little lower. I've been in divisions with both of them, and I just figured them out. And once I did, they weren't really challenged. But
you see, I gave Reagan a lower composure. He's another one that will get pissed off pretty quickly.
The thing about John is John loved the fact. So I agree with you on the composure front. John loved the fact that we would compete. Reagan would just get pissed off every time we played, and I was like, okay, I'm just trying not to get kicked. So I'll just beat you by 20 and leave it at that. And just start chewing the clock. That was my thought on it. I was like, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to be a good game. Try not to get kicked much. All right, AFC East. You got me in there. I gave myself a 97 because I'm better than all of you guys. 99 coaching, 94 GM. Prod has me at 94, tied with Juan. That's the highest grade. 97 coaching, 90 GM. We got Alpha in there as an 87. I gave him an 87. Prod gave him a 90 coaching, 87 GM. He'll get into the other ratings in a minute. Levon, I have as a 75 with 69 coaching. Prod him as a 73 with 67 coaching. I gave him a little more credit on the GM front. I gave him an 82, but Prod obviously was the GM, so he's going to give him a little less credit for that. And Nido, however the fuck you say his name, 76 overall from me, 79 from Prod. I don't really care. So, what are your quick thoughts on the grades and the AFC East?
Well, as far as you, I gave you the GOAT title, and that's all in the article. Basically everything I was saying about Brian earlier is the way I consider you as a user. Is I just gave you the higher grade, so you're just like a superior version of how Brian was back in the day. So there's not really any one weakness like you can hone in on. Like you can't go in and say, oh, Mason's teams usually suck, so at least I have a shot to attack his secondary, because you can't build a secondary or something like that. Or you can't be like, well, I can out-coach him, or I can rattle him and make him make mistakes. So there's not really like a weakness that I've found yet. I'm sure there's one somewhere, but I'm still looking for it.
There's none. Don't look. It's fine.
Alpha, he's always calm pretty much, so I gave him the 95 composure. His coaching, he takes what you give him. He doesn't really spam or repeat anything. I rely on people to spam stuff because that's how I catch them.
Same.
I think I'm underrated on defense. Like usually, like this last Madden, every league I was in, I was top 5 defense. So there's got to be something to that. But anyway, that's how I'll try and catch you. Like if you repeat something over and over, I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna get a turnover or something off of it. Guys like you and Alpha don't give you that opportunity.
Yeah, I was gonna say we scrimmage all the time. Do you catch me repeating anything?
Yeah, no, I try. I even try and bait you into doing stuff so that I can catch it.
I think
That's how I play, because I try and make you put the ball where I want you to put it, which is not where you want it. But that works with most people except a few. Anyway, back to Alpha. As a GM, I actually don't know much. I don't remember his team and grid, so I just gave him a base 87, stick skill 89, maybe could be 90, and then overall 90. Nido, I don't know as much about him either. He actually was in, I want to say, Premier back in the day when it was forming, and he was really bad, but he was actually better last year, so maybe he's on the rise. So his coaching, I gave him a 75 just because, he still didn't do that well. I played him once and demolished him. His GMing, he did get that team decent, so I gave him an 85. Composure, 85. Overall, 79. Levon, his coaching's terrible. And he doesn't he doesn't accept coaching, so his coaching can improve. So that's kind of the problem with him. He's just going to do what he wants, I guess. Maybe one day it'll click. GMing, the best teams Levon has had is when it's been either me or Reed picking his people or helping him. So I couldn't give him much of a GM grade because I drafted the best player on his team for him.
No, but I have a question, right? I have a point on that. Is
Yeah.
it coercing you to get that player for him still good GMing? Because he got the information and he eventually got the player. He just used you to do it. So if someone every year decides, hey, for some whatever godforsaken reason, I'm going to take Levon under my wing, which I was going to do last man. I actually was. I was like, Levon, let's scrimmage. And he kept ghosting me. So I was like, okay, then that's up to you. Won't catch me out here.
I just wanted to be, I think because I was out of the league at first and I just wanted something to do, and trying to get him to build his team up was kind of fun. And believe me, I had to beg him to draft that corner over another corner he was going to pick. So that's why I just kind of gave all the credit to myself when he was good. He was not going to take that dude. The other guy was okay too, but he wasn't that corner. And then stick skill, which, well, I gave him a 69. Obviously, you didn't do that grade. And his overall, he managed to
be 73 with me, so he's out of the 60s. I mean, he could have been 60 something based on performance of all the Maddens, but I kept him above water at least. I didn't give him that shame of being a 68 overall.
I just think it's hilarious how he had a random picture of himself facing off against your brother in which he was 3-4. As if, first off, why did he take that picture? How did he find the picture again? Because it was before they played. So he didn't like log back onto the game. Because this was like a year before. So how did he find the picture? And why was him being 3-4 the accomplishment? Because he ended up losing to your brother. But first of all, that's Levon for you, and yet people have him winning the AFC East over me at 5 votes, Naito at 1. No one voted for Alpha. Any thoughts on that?
That's the trolling I was talking about earlier. Unless people really know something about the future that I don't know. Maybe you're going to leave the league or something. I don't know. And maybe that's going to – maybe you and Alpha are both going to leave and retire, and there's going to be 2 other bums in there.
Still don't think he'd win the division.
Maybe Naito's going to get sick. Maybe he's going to be in there by himself with 3 CPU teams and win.
Still don't think he would win the division.
Well, now he won the AFC. What was it? NFC West last year, like that.
Dude, that was the worst division I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he won it, and then he was winning it. I think when the league died, he might have been winning it. I don't know. I remember I seen him make the playoffs one year, but then he didn't play the playoff game or something. Maybe that was the Madden before. I don't know. When it comes to Levon, you just don't know.
Why you put him in my division, man? You can't get me better than that. Oh, I'm really have to beat him twice a year.
Well, here's the thing about him and Nito. They wanted to be in the same division. So I was like, okay, I can put you on the same division. And then Levon said something about you. I don't remember what, but that's how they both ended up with you. And then I was like, well, I need to put Alpha in there so that Mason has somebody in there to play against. So that's how that came about.
Weak ass shit. That's weak, man. You put me in this. Alpha's gonna be tough though. He's normally a very tough user. I just don't. Honestly, I think he's a 90 grade, but I don't want to. I don't like giving new users anything over what I gave Alpha as like an 87 because people winning in other leagues isn't the same as winning in here. Mainly because just everyone in here, and I think this is the difference in this league. Everyone adjusts so quickly. Because so what makes this league special to me is that everyone plays a different style, and so when you see them one time around, you have to adjust super quick. And if you play the same style all the time, people will catch up and beat you. That's why I have to play a completely different style. I used to be able to just do one thing, but now I can't because that's just how this league works. And if you do one thing, people see it, they come at you, and they change it up. In the middle of the game, they will do things that you've not seen them do, and you'll be like, oh, shit, where the hell? I didn't know you could do that. What the fuck? And then next thing you know, oh, well, it's a different game, which is why my theory is just don't turn it over. So when you see that new stuff, at least they're doing it to you on their own 20 and not on your 20.
That's true.
It's normally my theory. But I think that's
a good case study, too, on Premier versus other leagues. Because if you look at me in Premier, I'm like 9 wins, 8 wins. You look at me in Grid, I'm like 12 wins, 13 wins. This league I'm in now, the year before, I went 12-4. So obviously, there's got to be something to the level of competition in Premier versus a lot of other leagues people are in. I mean, even the league I was in with PMT before it died earlier in the year, I was in the NFC Championship, and then I ended up losing there, and then that league died. In Elite, I made the playoffs. I was like 11-5 with Jasper in that division. So I do think, at least in terms – maybe not like nationwide, all leagues, but I do think like just basic Madden leagues, like Premier is probably like competition-wise one of the tougher ones.
I will say this. You're right. Last Madden, I won 2 Super Bowls here. I didn't win in any other leagues, but I lost 2 Super Bowls to Juan in other leagues and 1 to Ryan. And Ryan completely had my number every time because me and Ryan have been playing with each other since Madden 16, and we scrimmage all the time, and he knows every single thing I'm going to do. Every single thing I'm going to do before I do it. It's very annoying. It's like playing someone in my head. But so I say that to say I was in Elite for 1 year before it died, made the Super Bowl, was in Grid for 2 years, made the Super Bowl each year. And by the way, in Grid, I had a team that was 0-8, won the last 8 games, traded my first round pick just for the hell of it. And then at the end of that season, I was like, I'll just see how many games I win. Won all 8, went 15-1 1 year, 14-2, made 2 Super Bowls, lost to Juan and Ryan, obviously, 2 very good players. So yeah, you're right. And in this league, I won 2 Super Bowls, yes, but Juan stopped me from getting the 2 more. No, Juan stopped me once. I missed the playoffs, which I've never done in any league before. In year 3, some of that was obviously just winning a Super Bowl. Everyone was gunning for me, so I started off like 2-4. And then Mitch got hurt, and that really fucking annoyed me. And then another year, Gutta beat me in the playoffs. So it's just a lot. The thing is, and like I'm saying, there's a lot of different things people throw at you. So you have to be able to beat every style. You can't just beat one. Like it was one thing because I figured out how to beat one. I had to get there though. That was just as hard because I had to beat Gutta, or I had to make playoffs, or I had to get out of my division. And that shit's the hard part. Once I figured out how to beat him, I was like, all right, I can do that. And then even when I would beat him, Nard in the Super Bowl was just as hard. Those Super Bowls, by the way, Nard's Super Bowls against Juan had Nard's number really badly. Nard's Super Bowls against me were always extremely close. If you don't remember, there was that 4th down. There's just a
I
couple.
remember that pick at the end of one where you change somebody's zone or something and
Yep.
pick off Nard to basically clinch that game.
Yep. Shit was crazy. Then there was the onside kick where I forget what the fuck happened. So annoying. They gave me the ball at the 7 or whatever, and then it was so stupid. It was like a glitch that I've never seen before. And we all were like, what the fuck? Like in the Super Bowl, this is happening? Really? But yeah, so those games were both incredibly hard. So even when you figure out the best user, the second or third guy can always figure you out, Rain found that. He's like, if I just get to Super Bowl and play them, I'll beat them. Then he ended up losing to Juan because getting there was so tough, even with the best team. You had to beat Nard, who's a strategist. That's the other thing. Some people in here are great at building teams. Some people are strategists. It's very hard to do both. I'm not the best at building teams. Other people aren't the best strategists, and that's just that. But speaking of strategists, we'll go to the AFC North, where I have Rain as a 93. You have him as an 88. And I think you have him as an 8 mainly because you added in skill and composure, but I have him as a 93 just by – I think his GM's a 99, and I think his coaching's an 89. His coaching is an 85. His GM is a 98. We'll get more into those grades in a minute. C-Des I have as a 77. You have him as an 80. If his GM is way higher than me, actually, he's an 87. I have it as 74. Coaching an 80 of it as 79. Zach, another one kind of we differ a little bit. I have him as an 85. You have him as an 89. With 89 coaching, 85 GM, 98 skill. I have him as a 90 coaching, 80 GM. And Ron, I have as a 69, 64 coaching. He is a 71 with 65 coaching. The votes came in as well. Might as well point this out. This, I think people will be honest. 8 people picked Rain, 5 Zach, 2 C-Des. I think you and C-Des voted for C-Des, but that's
I picked actually Zach.
wow.
I'm not sure where the other C-Des vote came from.
It was Juan.
Good for him.
It was Juan.
Yeah, probably.
But so yeah, this division actually low key. If Zach returns to the prominence, you have so to clarify, you think Zach is better than Rain? We'll just start there because I disagree. But go ahead, I'll let you take it away.
This will probably get some good bulletin board material for Rain. Me and my brother both are in the camp of is that Rain builds such good teams that a lot of that is his success, which is part of being a good user, of course, but a lot of his success is from building those great teams. Maybe he's not necessarily as great a tactician or clutch player is that like he scares you for those reasons. Well, basically, my brother thinks like if he was to play Rain head to head, he would beat him. I think Rain's still a tough out no matter what team he's using, but when you have like godlike teams like that, of course, it's going to be 10 times worse dealing with him. That's why I gave him the 98 GM, which is second to Juan, who I gave 99 to. Coaching, I gave him an 85, so it's not like I think he's a shit coach or anything. And an 88 overall is not a bad grade. Zach, I have his coaching at 89. Part of what raises Zach so high, which you didn't grade, I gave him that 98 stick skill.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, Zach, out of all the users, is the biggest pain in the ass. So like you can't throw anywhere near that dude if you're passing. Like you really have to call a play that's making him go somewhere else so that you can pass where you want to throw to, because Zach is just usually all over everything in the middle of the field. We'll see how that changes this Madden. But anyway, that kind of boosted his overall a bit to 89. Of course, at the same token, you could say the 98 is boosting Rain to 88.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as who's tougher to play, yeah, I think Zach's a little tougher to deal with from, past experience.
So I think of the players I'm playing against, if I'm talking about stick skill and you're talking about usering, I would put Zach's up there. I think Juan is a little more frustrating. No, Juan is more frustrating. I put Juan as 2. I think Gutta is the best user because his shit flies. It's he'll start off from the right side and you just start looking left, and then next thing you know, you throw it and he's around, and you're like, how the fuck did he even get close to the ball? And so I put that there. Rain's usering is also, it's pretty good. He picked me off like 3-4 times but that was, again, regular season. The season started, I was trying out some new shit. Rain always points out that win over me, which I think needs to calm down with that shit. It was the game 1 of the year after I won a Super Bowl. Ain't nobody worried about game 1 of the regular season. I'm like, all right, I gotta play Rain, great. And
I'll tell you what Rain can do that most people won't do. He can use a corner and a safety when he needs to, which you don't see a lot of. Him and Sky
Yes.
both do that.
Sky's an expert at that, actually. They do talk to each other. They have to.
Yeah, they do. Because it's from playing squads. I know that's where they kind of developed that probably. Because I was on their squad, and Rain was always a corner. So he knows how to, like, jam people and cover receivers. And Sky can do the same thing. I was always, like, the defense coach. So I was just picking the plays. And usually I would just stay on the defensive line or, like, a linebacker near the line of scrimmage. But I think that secondary stick skill probably comes from that background that they both have.
Interesting. But yeah, I think so. Here's the thing with Rain. I see what you're saying, but I think part of that comes from, I think that the team is its biggest strength and its biggest weakness. I think Rain, when the game first comes out, I think he's a really good coach. What happens to me is his team becomes so talented that he just starts trying to out-talent people rather than simply still going out and outsmarting them. And I've had this problem in the past as well. This is why part of the reason why I don't see myself as maybe a great GM, but it's kind of on purpose. I don't want all the talent necessarily because it changes the way you view your team. Like I'm okay with some flaw. I would rather have a super powered certain position that I can kind of gear a game plan to rather than a complete team where I'm like, all right, they can stop everything and I don't have to do anything. Because to me, it makes you stop thinking. And what happens, what you see with Rain is he'll get that superstar quarterback, superstar running back, and he'll use them a certain way and it'll beat most people because they're just more talented. So 99 speed running back will just, do his thing against most people. When you play a person who's talented enough and smart enough to just QB spy, stop the run, or change up their style to what Rain's doing and then stop his initial attacks, because he's been doing one thing all season, he doesn't have the adjustment or the counter adjustments. Whereas other users, me, Juan, Sky, Gutta, who you would also consider kind of the top tier guys, Ramp actually very good at too. His team was terrible, but Ramp's is very good at too. They're looking for adjustments throughout the regular season, not necessarily to win the game, but to see what works. And I think Rain is very content on one thing working the entire year and hoping that one thing wins in the Super Bowl. And that's not how you can't approach that with this league. Because, again, everyone likes to give Juan crap for I don't give Juan any shit for his style because he would play me and he would do it, but he would also he would throw in just enough passes, just enough throws, money plays, but he would do them and they would just catch you off guard and be like, "Fuck, I wasn't expecting that." I would guess wrong and it was suddenly a throw and you're like, "Shit, whoops," because you're just so tired of it beating you. So Juan has a changeup and actually more of a changeup than I think Rain does because Rain's going to call hike, either run the ball or call hike, scramble. You will not stay in the pocket and look for a throw, which is something that's hard to develop, but it's something that I was like, all right, Mitch can run, but throughout the season, I was just thinking, how am I going to beat Juan? And I was like, how am I going to beat Juan? How am I going to beat Nard? It's not from continuously scrambling. I need to do it
Right.
occasionally. That's not how you do it. You've got to just beat them from the pocket because their teams are too good and their teams are too fast and they're going to catch a quarterback. And then what you saw every year, which is what you saw again with Brain last year, is that his quarterback kept getting hurt because he kept getting the shit smacked out of him every time he kept scrambling. So if he would know how to have a counterpunch and kind of protect that quarterback, we're gonna see. We're gonna see this year because he's gonna have Lamar. Lamar's gonna get the shit smacked out. I'm gonna do it if I play him. I'm going to intentionally hit stick him every time because I don't want him in the game. Because if you take out Rain's quarterback, it's a wrap, especially on this team. It's awful. So I think where the difference is, I think he's a good coach at the beginning. I think throughout the season, his abilities kind of deteriorate. Also, something to come along with that is we're all scrimmaging and we're all playing in different leagues, and he's not. So he kind of gets left behind in that.
Right.
That's a personal problem. It's not our fault. Fucking do it. Like, oh well, you can join another league or you can scrimmage.
And then to get on CDES real quick, I think we differed on the GM a lot, but I think he had a good team last year. It's just the results weren't there. I mean, if you had looked at his team overall, he's one of those, he maintains what he has and he'll add pieces. Even though I did also draft his best player, literally, on his team, but he had that team, I remember I played him and I was looking at his defensive players. I was like, man, they're going to be a problem. I mean, I ended up beating them badly, but there's something there. I think he would be a perfect fit in one of those really strict like sim leagues because that's kind of like how he wants to play, and so he gets frustrated with any type of cheese in Madden. Like he will never play that way, and he'll never use like what the popular plays are. Like I'll try and tell him some stuff, and he was like, no. He was like, I want all the credit, whether I'm winning or losing. And he starts quoting, who is that? Is that Kendrick? I don't know. I think it might have been. So I went, okay, all right, don't listen. That's why when I made that post, I told him to come over to the dark side and just embrace the. I don't know. I think pretty much every Madden player like has their money plays. I guess people like to call them, but I mean, I really just think it's plays that people are comfortable with. He never really finds plays that he's comfortable with. He goes like he's the type he'll use a random playbook going into a game. He'll just pick something and play. So I think if he ever like tried to make a playbook or something like that, he'd probably be a lot better. But he's not going to.
I don't necessarily consider myself as doing I consider myself as zigging where people zag, but I do have go-to plays. I have go-to strategies that I see that are working, and and if you can't stop it, I'm gonna call them from different formations. I'm not gonna call the same play, but I'll keep going to the same strategy. Why?
Right.
That's also what teams do. It just doesn't look the same because it's not a video game. Teams do that in real life all the time. Who won the Super Bowl? How'd they win it? Eagles, RPOs. Sorry, that's kind of what happens. That's how it works.
And then just Ron real quick. I've never since Madden 25, I haven't seen him have any success. It's always been I'm building my team up, and then you just wait like 3-4 years and you're like, all right, where's this built up team at? Like he took Lewis's team last year. Lewis had them pretty decent. I gave Lewis a 92 GM, to jump ahead real quick. And he took that team and just blew them up completely. And I was like, what the hell happened to the Jets?
I remember because I saluted him for a couple of fucking. I forget what I traded to him. I traded him some old dudes on my bench, and he's like, "Oh, that dude's a stud." I'm like, you want him?
Yeah, he had like a wholesale fire sale and just got rid of everybody on that team. Like we got rid of that trade committee and he just went ham. So that was a good study that we need to keep that around.
Fucking Ron. I've never seen Ron win more than 3 games in a season.
And he's a good dude. He's a cool dude. So I don't have any problem with him. I just
No, wait, were you in grid last year? Holy fuck.
no, I don't. Yeah, that's a whole other podcast in itself. If he wants to get on one day for that one, that was a good 4 hours of entertainment.
I don't even. Should we explain this? I want to, but Ron's a good dude, so I don't want to do it to him.
Well, he's a good enough sport that I think he might actually come on and get into that, maybe another podcast or something.
All right. We'll table that. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in a group chat. And I'm in Premiere, guys. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in a group chat. Oh, God, it was so good. It was so fucking funny. AFC West. I have Lewis at a 72. You have him at a 75. Your mom sucks. You have him as an 89. Obviously, you won that grid championship. I have him as 81. I don't want to give him too much credit already. Palmer, I just put as a generic 74, NA. And you have Matt as a 90. I have him as an 86. So, what are your quick thoughts on this division of those grades? People also have Matt winning the division 9-3 to 3-3. Lewis getting 3 votes somehow.
Yeah, I think Mr. Nice or Your Mom Sucks or whatever you want to call him, he has a chance to win the division. I mean, he's been there before. I was in a division with him. I think in grid, I think I won the division the first 2 years, and then he won the next year, and then I eventually ended up leaving. But I mean, he won the Super Bowl. He's not bad. I think he won the Super Bowl that year I left. Actually, I wasn't in there. Matt, like between Matt, Rain, Sky, Ramp, that little click, like as of right now, I think Matt is the best out of them as far as when you play him. Coaching, I have him at 90. GMing, 89, maybe a little high on second thought, but composed, he's usually pretty composed until he loses. But in game, he's all right. Stick skill, I have him at 97 because he's the other top user to me that's annoying to deal with as far as usering linebackers.
Great
Especially
point.
if he has a fast one.
Oh, God, yeah. Actually, I would put Matt as the toughest guy for me to personally play because he knows everything I'm going to do as well. It's fucking annoying to play. He picks more than anyone. I'm just like, how the fuck? Because you expect him to do one thing, and he does exactly what you don't want him to do. You're like, all right, you're reading like he's going to do that. I'm just going to do this, and then he doesn't. And you're like, how the fuck did he know? Like, how did he know? He's always got this fast, tall linebacker to use too, but he does it to me.
He always has one.
Yeah. He doesn't
you try and test him. Sometimes you'll try and test him. Well, okay, he's a little out of position. The ball just goes right to him. And you're like, fuck.
Yep.
Lewis, pretty much all low ratings except GM. I gave him a 92 because I thought he had a pretty good Jets team there. I mean, he wasn't winning, but especially defensively. And then he had a good running back. Like, I liked what he had with the Jets. It seemed like if he was a good user, all he needed was a QB, and he would be, in a playoff team every year. And he actually did get in there one year. So, I don't know. If he ever wants to be active, he can probably be like an 8-win team, 9-win consistently.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I have him at 75. Palmer, I know nothing about. He was in grid briefly. I didn't get to see him play Premier. I don't know if Premier died before he played. So that's it really for that division.
Just a couple interesting things. First off, I didn't pay attention to the AFC that much, so I don't know what Lewis's team looked like. I didn't really care. I smoked him when we played, so I was like, whatever. Another thing, Matt. So AFC, you think he's the AFC West? You think he's the best player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting point. Of the clique, Sky, Rain, Ramp, Matt. You think Matt's the best coaching wise? I think he if he was a better GM, I think it would be wider. But I have Sky's a higher rating because Sky's a GM. Just Matt's and the reason I have Matt is such a low GM is he had the Texans last year and they got worse every season. And he got progressively worse as a result. Because he had a better team than anyone else. And then suddenly Nard's team caught up, Rain's team caught up. Even beating.
In trouble.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Because his team had such a head start. The Texans are low. So for him to not really do much with them was very disappointing, I'd say. But as a coach, yeah, I put him up there. I think his composure actually might have 85. The problem with him is I think there should be two different things. I think there's playoff composure and regular season composure. And his regular season composure kind of caught him. It caused so many issues because he would always point out how he couldn't focus because he's ADD and shit. So he couldn't focus during regular season games, and he would just cough away games. And what it did was he would never get that first or second seed. Just give him a bye, give him an easy game going to conference championship where he would just play Nard. He would always have to be a wild card team because he couldn't just focus in the regular season. So I think those are great. Now in the postseason, he was completely focused, and it would be a different guy. I think he always won at least one playoff game, I believe, if he got it. And he was always a problem. Beat Rain one time, beat Apple one time the playoffs because they're choke jobs. But so yeah, that's going to be annoying to deal with in this conference. Yeah, for those saying this conference is weak, I mean, Matt made a Super Bowl, Rain made a Super Bowl, I won too. Basically the same. There's no Nard. He made a bunch of Super Bowls. Talk about Super Bowl appearances. The AFC technically this year has more than the NFC does. Based off of my two, Matt's one, Rain's one. So shut that shit up right now. But interesting. I think Sky and Ramp are right there. I think Rain's just so much more of a GM, but as a coach, I would have him kind of last of that group. Very interesting group, the New Yorkers. Never won a ring though. Well, Ramp did, but that was before I was around.
Yeah, I think I have Matt at 90 coaching. Maybe Ramp is the better coach, even though I have him at 89. I think maybe Ramp is a little more of a tactician in game, and Ramp can adjust, as good as anybody when you're playing him. He's probably the best at figuring out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have him lower than Matt, but I didn't do all the grading at once, so sometimes I might have been in one mood, and other times I was in a different mood.
Yeah, I was just stoned. But real quick, let's just go through our top fives just so we can recap. Prod's top five in coaching had me at 97, Juan 93, Alpha 90, Matt 90, Brian at 90. My top five would be me at 99, Gut at 96, Juan 93, Ramp 93, and Matt 93. So we kind of different, obviously. They're just the gradings. I just kind of set a higher scale. But I really had Gut higher than you, and you had Brian kind of, I don't really, never seen him. And I had Ramp higher. So what do you think about those? Do you agree with those? Do yours match up with what you actually believe after this podcast? Yada, yada, yada.
For the most part, except for what I just said. But yeah, I think, to be honest, even though our scales are different, we're kind of right there as far as agreement in terms of if you were to rank everybody. I think we're pretty close. I think our biggest differences were probably John and who else was it now? I'm trying to look.
I don't remember.
I don't know. John stands out, I guess, is the biggest difference in our grading. But
Real is different. We had a couple.
Yeah, Real too. Yeah.
But
maybe
Zach. Yeah, Zach is very different.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go over the highlights now. I'm just going to show you so you guys can see the PowerPoints now. You can see where we differ. Our bottom five coaching, obviously, the big names. I have Regan at 70, Levon at 69. And you have Levon at 67. So Levon's going to be very pissed. What can Levon do to get out of this bottom five range for you? When we come up with the next grades, probably after season one, we'll come up with updated grades. What can Levon do to get the hell out of here, that bottom?
Here's the thing. He's shown flashes, right? He's beaten Gutter. He's beaten Ramp. He's beaten Gabe. See, this is one thing I'll never let happen. I'm never letting Levon beat me in league play.
Same.
team. You can never let that happen if you think you're a top person or aspiring to be top. But anyway, he's shown those flashes, so it's not like he's completely inept. I think it's in there somewhere. He just needs to build upon his good qualities in game and just go from there. I mean, there's no magic pill to get better. So I don't know. I think maybe he will have a fire in him and play harder this Madden.
Mhm.
Being in your division and with Alpha doesn't help though. But
It could help. I mean, you'll be playing better players.
that's true.
He won't beat me, but I can make him better. I don't know. Your top 5 GMs, I see. Well, first off, we have Juan and Rain as the top 2. Kind of flip the order there. We both have Sky at a 95, which is a good job by us. Same grade. We both kept each other out of the top 5 GMs, which I thought was very interesting. Your top 5 is Juan, Rain, Sky. Lewis, you have over me as a GM, which I think is fucking ridiculous, and yourself. And I put myself over you, and then Gutta at an 89.
But
Really,
yeah, I think I also drafted the best player on 2 other teams in the league, on top of building my own team.
ain't
So
nobody.
I give myself credit for that.
All right, Bill Polian, that doesn't count. You're just helping other teams get good. How does that make you a top GM? That's not how that works.
Yeah, it makes me a GM. I was a GM for the 49ers for a year. So
Wow. All right, so you're just gonna give yourself credit for that. All right. So GM wise, we'll just go to the main ones. I don't want to talk about the bad people in this list. We both have Ron, though. That's the only person that we both have as bottom 5 GM. We also have Pop, but let's just stick with Ron real quick. What can he do to not fuck up the Browns this year? Because that would be great if he would just not ruin that team.
Ron, make a plan and stick with it. So don't just keep trading, because that's what Zach used to do. He used to just trade and trade just for the sake of trading. If I was him, to be honest, he doesn't really have to trade at all. Just keep that team, build them up. I'm not sure what the older guys are. As they get older, get rid of them. Maybe he can.
Maybe Landry and Josh Gordon would need to get.
Yeah, maybe finesse somebody for those 2. But Landry has a pretty big contract, I think.
Yeah, and then Joko's a good tight end. Everything on that team is young. It's either stacked or young to where you can make them stacked.
Yeah, so just build up with what you got. You don't always have to trade. I mean, with the Bengals, I didn't do a whole lot of trading. I got rid of AJ Green. Like last year, I sent him to you actually because he refused to catch in traffic for me. So I was like, okay, you got to go. You're not doing the one thing that I need.
Contract.
Other than that, I just built all the youngins up and just added pieces to the team. I mean, that's the best way to go to me. Unless you have Rain and Juan type trade like intellect, don't trade a ton like that.
The only way I would trade a ton is, and this is why I consider I'm not a great GM, but I think I'm good enough, is I will trade because I'm always close. So I'll trade for a lineman or something. And like I traded Levon for it was like a right guard or right tackle because I wanted to complete my O-line. And what ended up happening was I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this on Juan this year. This is right before – I always forget which year this was before. It might have been year 2. I was like, I'm going to just try to run it down his throat and see what happens. And I ended up running it for 200 yards with Jordan Howard, and he was the monster because I figured it's like what does a pressing team not want to get pressed? What does a running football player not want to get or a Madden player not want to get run on? And Jordan Howard just broke off because the Cowboys' defense was weak. So if you see – but again, that's a specific situation where I'm close to the top. You know what I mean? So if you're that close, then I would say make a trade to like kind of get there. And other than that, or I would do what a lot of people should do more, and I don't understand why the hell they don't. If it's toward the end of the season, if it's week 10 and you know you're eliminated, it becomes like the baseball trade deadline. Look for the league allows you to trade to people who know they're going to be in the playoffs, but they haven't clinched yet. So do it because you'll get more value. They'll forget about draft.
That's what I do all the time. I made trades with Gutter like that when he was going into the playoffs.
Yep.
Selling high.
Yep, because you look and you're like, holy shit, it's week 11 and I can fucking win a Super Bowl. And I fell victim to. I traded Levon for that guard because I was like, shit, I want to win a Super Bowl. The difference is I did it, but you can get people like that because you're like when you're near the playoffs, people will make those trades. Whereas if you try to trade someone for a draft pick toward the draft, everyone loves that shit. They will not let you touch a draft pick. So what I did last year at the end was I looked at it and I looked at what was going on. And this is how I built the second championship. Going into year 3, I was kind of like, all right, my team's already good enough to win. I'm not going to build it for this year. I'm going to build it for year 4. Obviously, it's the fucking playoffs in year 3. But I had a bunch of picks, and I just traded them for futures. Traded them all for future second-round picks. Ended up building like that, made the team. And there you go. And that's how I did it. So
let's be honest, year 1, you shouldn't really be trading a ton anyway. You don't really know how the game plays.
absolutely.
And so, I mean, to try and get all these people and then they do a whole bunch of patches and updates and you just end up with a bunch of guys that you didn't need or don't fit how the game's playing.
Great
So
point.
unless I get picks, I don't trade a lot anyway, year 1.
One of the biggest trades I made was getting Michael Bennett, actually. I remember that. That was a huge trade for me because the Bears defense was terrible. We didn't have any run stoppers or pass rushers except for Leonard Floyd. And Floyd kept getting hurt. So I was like, fuck it. I need 2 pass rushers. And I went out and got Michael Bennett who could both stop the run and the pass once I figured out how the game was. And it didn't work in season 1 because Juan had me. But then I went out and I got another D tackle. And then next thing you knew, I just worked on block shed all year. Next thing you know, I had Bennett, Floyd, Goldman, and another D tackle, and I would just clog up the O line, and eventually that's how I was able to beat them. And so you have to read the tea leaves, and I think it's very important to watch. It's very important to me if you're going to be a GM to watch how people are playing, but also keep in mind how to beat them. And last year, the secret wasn't to run the ball; it was to block shed, stop everyone else from running the ball. That's what I did. Stop them from running the ball, then you can do whatever you want on offense. Doesn't really matter. But yeah. And so first off, real quick, explain your composure. I'm gonna point out your top 5 and your bottom 5. Top 5 composure, Pop because he doesn't give a shit at 96. Real me and Alpha Tide 95. John and your mom sucks 94. Your bottom 5 composure, Dub, Lewis 65. Dub was 60, Lewis 65, PMT 73. Reagan at 75, and Rain, Cedez, and Prod, yourself at 80. So you were in the bottom 5 of your own composure rating. It's very interesting. Just explain that real quick. What did you see with composure, and how can people improve on that?
Basically, how I rated it was, do you either get frustrated with the game, frustrated by shit talk, or, just in general, just not that composed when things are tense. Me, it's more, I tend to get more frustrated with the game. Dub is kind of like a combination of everything. And then the ones who have the high composure ratings is either because they're kind of like carefree or they're just composed in game in general. Like a lot of them, like basically if you have a high grade, it means I don't really think composure is going to affect you negatively per se. That's why the people have the higher grades. Basically what that is. So if it affects you negatively, then you have a lower grade.
I have.
I think I kind of need to break that up into a bunch of like different ratings. There's too much to have encompassing in there is what the problem is.
I think clutch is part of it. I think shit talk handling is another thing. We're going to, by the way, for those who don't know, we're going to add more. This is kind of I don't want to call it rust. We were kind of just thinking of like the quickest things, but we're going to probably come up with like 10, 11, 10, 15, maybe even grades to encompass passing, running, defensive tactics, offensive tactics, all that kind of stuff. When we have obviously more time, which we will before the next podcast, maybe after the tournament, which actually I wanted to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I think as someone with the top composure rating, my personal thing about it is I go into each game expecting Madden to majorly screw me over twice. So that way it doesn't surprise me. I'm like, okay, I already start this game off down 14-0, assuming that Madden will fuck me over at some point. Because it could happen or it could not happen. And I go to every game knowing damn well then I need luck to win, because I don't care what you say. Anyone who says they won a Super Bowl without having any luck throughout the playoffs or regular season is just lying to you. I'll tell you right now, I had damn lucky moments. You just need them. And so if you just go in with that attitude and you're just like, all I have to do is get this person, this opponent, at some point in the game to give me those 14 points, whether it's with a turnover, whether it's by breaking open a big play, whether it's just by getting luck. Maybe Madden doesn't screw me over. Maybe it only screws me over by 7 points. But I make it a game of attrition, and I'm like, okay, eventually this opponent will fold, because it's very hard to outplay me for the 24 minutes that, whatever, that it takes off the clock, or 28 minutes. I think we do 28 minutes. It's a very hard thing to do, and I know that. And the thing is when you have that mindset, the other person knows it too. And the second that it's like, oh, wow, it's 14-14, this is getting closer, or, oh, wow, they're up 3. Second you take a lead, someone will easily throw you a pick 6. Happens all the time. You just got to wait for it. And again, it's punting, because punts are frustrating for when someone's playing you and they can't move the ball and you just punt it back to them. They start trying to blitz you, start trying to get turnovers. And I think you just gotta. It's so easy. Like, the only difference between some of I'd say a user that's like ranked like 23rd, 24th, or a user that's 7 or 8 is just composure, like you put, just being calm in those big moments, relaxing and realizing, all right, this game will fuck you. This game will fuck you at some point. It might happen. I just don't want it to happen at the end of the game. At some point, I might get a fumble, an unlucky holding, an unlucky break, a missed pass. That's fine. Next play. Try not to hope that isn't a turnover, right? That's the hope. Or hope that it doesn't become a touchdown, and then just keep on going and just don't let it big plays. That's how I do it from composure. I think the people with bottom composure, as you put them, they freak out. And the thing is, all you guys at the bottom of the list, even if you're not bottom 5, if you're bottom 10, guess what? The top guys know that. We know it, and I just wait. I'm waiting for one good thing to happen my way. That's why in texting this dub, what I started doing was I started throwing jump balls, because I was like, if one of them works, he'd freak out. You know what I would do? I only would do this against Dub. Only person. I'd never look at the chat when I'm playing. He's the only person. I'd throw one. I'd look at the chat. He'd be like, oh, fuck, this game's stupid. And I'd be like, yep, won. I was like, yep, game over. Game's over already. Got no chance. He's got no chance to beat me. It's just that simple. And, I mean, you can see Regan does that shit too. He'll be like, oh, this game's fun. Or this guy plays gay or something like that. And you're like, yep, game's over. Goodbye. Yep. You can't beat me. And Dunn actually did it in the playoffs as well. I remember he was like, oh, she's just going to do this, that. The other guy was like, yep, beat him. Got him. Because he tagged me, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Why is this dude tagging? I heard that, and I was like, what the fuck? My phone's going. Oh, why is he tagging me during we're playing each other. I think he paused it, too. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? But, yeah, so it's just very simple. People know. People with high composure know when you have low composure, and they know when you're going to fold. So it's just that simple. I would never say anything in the chat while I'm playing, ever. Because you never know who's looking. But top skills, stick skills, and bottom stick skills, we'll go over those in a minute. Top 5, you have Zach at 98, Matt at 97, Juan 95, me and Gutta at 94. Bottom 5, you have Ron at 67. Boy, Ron's getting beat the fuck up in this. Levon 69, Lewis 71, PMT 71, Pop and Nido 72. So how do you get better with stick skills? How do you kind of acquire that skill? Do you think it's something you can't even acquire? Do you think it's just something that you have?
Yeah, I don't think you can acquire it. I don't know. Zach seemed to got a lot better at it. I don't know. I guess just playing a lot. And I guess it also kind of depends who you tend to use there. I mean, well, I don't know, because it applies to offense too, in my mind. I mean, the way I rated here is mostly defense, but I mean, as far as like even on offense, like maneuvering in the pocket and running the ball is also kind of part stick skill. But for here, we're just going to focus on defense. I really don't think you can improve it. Like, I don't know, someone like April, I guess he did too, because he was always a D-line guy. He switched to using the linebacker, and he got all right at it. I guess like anything else is practice and time and want to, basically.
I actually disagree with you. I think you can. I actually think you. I definitely think you can improve it. I think it's a couple things. One, it's noticing tendencies to me because it's like everyone says with a great defense, they're not thinking, they're reacting. When you start noticing a tendency and you just start like you're like, all right, I know what's coming here. If you see a formation, you're like, I know what's coming. You just got to react on it. Period.
Oh yeah.
Guess, and you just got to go. And I think that's something that's easy for me and you to understand because we're pretty good at it. But I'm trying to help out like the guys who aren't as good as it. Look, like if you see something and you've seen it twice already, and you see them in the same formation, guess and go, because you'll be right, and that's how I normally get like a pick.
Well, that's part stick skill. That's also part coaching too.
It's true. Another thing I would say with stick skill is I notice. So I don't know how many people do this. I don't look at my player. It's kind of one of those things where people say like driving or when you're walking, you don't look at your feet. Your body kind of goes wherever your eyes go. So for me, I'm looking to see – I look at the wideouts first or the tight ends. I'm trying to see who's open and then just trusting my natural ability because to me that's quicker than if I'm looking at my guy and then trying to tell him to go somewhere. If I look at an area – my natural – I've been playing video games since I was like fucking 6. So naturally my fingers will know how to like – you know what I mean? They'll know how to like maneuver him there. Like just like the brain to hand reactions. It's weird how it works. But I've like figured out that if I just look at receivers and then he'll just – like my guy will just go there because like, you know, my brain's telling my hand to do that and he's going. Next thing you know, it's pick. And I'm like, all right. Like, I was just looking at him. I saw him and I'm trying to cut him. I'm trying to beat him to an area, and it happens.
Part of it is just too like subconscious stuff that you know. Like let's say you're on defense and you're in cover 2 zone, hard flats. You know what's the weakness is. You know deep over the middle like a post or something is open. So in the back of your mind, you're kind of without even thinking about it, like looking. Like when I'm on defense and it's a pass play, like I'm playing quarterback with my opponent. So I'm looking to see who's going to be open, and I'm usually there. Now, this is where I say stick skill will come into play because sometimes I'll know where it's going. I'm running to the spot and I'll miss and it'll get caught anyway. So then that's when I call it stick skill is being able to make the play when you need to. Like me, like a lot of times I'll always know like where the ball's going and then I'll just miss. So to me, like that's what stick skill is. That's the missing piece to making the actual play as far as just knowing what the play is that needs to be made.
That's a great point. Obviously, but you make a good point before that as well. If you call a defense, you have to know the holes in it. Like I'll call a blitz and I'll be like, all right, I'm blitzing him there. I know where the opening is, and that gives you such an advantage because, yeah, like you said, it's like playing quarterback, but you already have the answers. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Already know where they have to go to beat you. And to me, part of that comes with having a good team. If your team does what they're supposed to, because sometimes your team won't. If they're not good, they won't react. They won't be in the spot they're supposed to be in, which is like, oh, the linebacker's supposed to be underneath, but he's got like bad player awareness or slow speed, so he's not there. You're like, shit, like why the hell didn't you make a play? You know what I mean? But if you have a team that kind of gets there, and that's when I started playing faster throughout the years, is when my team got better. I'm like, okay, they'll be in the spot. Like the corner's going to pick that shit off. Don't have to worry about it. So now I, as a middle linebacker or a safety or whatever I'm using, can just get to a spot and boom, it's picked. And if you don't throw it there, it's a sack. And that's why to me, if you blitz, it's so dangerous. And that's like another level of it. You have to like pinpoint a spot, and that's like the next level of it. So what I said before is I'm looking at a player. To me, that's like college level. I'll say college level quarterbacking. It's like college level stick skills. When you start pointing out spots, and I do this on offense as well, when you call a play and you're like looking, and I don't really look at the receivers. I look for the spots that are open because I know when someone's going to get there. It's a very subconscious thing, and then it's not trusting. That's why I'm giving out all the tips right now. That's why if you've ever done this interesting thing, I do this. I've done this before. If I'm like waiting, if someone's like late to a game, I'll go to practice and I will call random passing plays and see how long I can go without throwing a pick. Because it boosts your confidence and it just, I don't know, it teaches you how to just throw quicker. Because the longer you hold on to it, Madden will sack you and make you fumble it. Like, or if you hold on to it, if you miss that throw, a lot of people do is once they miss the throw, they'll try to throw it late. You throw it late, it's a pick because everyone's a good user. So they're going to like see it and they're like, oh, thanks. You know what I mean? A lot of different attributes to that. Yeah, your top 5 users. You have me and Juan tied at 94, Gut at 91, and then Matt, Sky, Real, Brian, Alpha at 90. I have me at 97, Juan 96, Rain, Sky, Gut at 93. Not much difference there at all. Not much difference at all. We actually have kind of the exact same top 5. How does someone who do you think that isn't there already can kind of jump into that list? For you,
I would say by your list, probably John can, and I would also say, where'd you have Apo at? Because I can't actually see yours.
I had Apo at 80. Let me look it up again. 85.
Okay, yeah, I think Apo,
83.
John,
At 83.
Apo, John, Real are probably like breakout candidates, and Zach is like a wild card. We don't know what Zach you're gonna get.
I gotta say, I think you're overrating Zach because you're his boy. I'll be honest with you. I'll say, get pissed.
I just think he's a tough out to me. I mean, when his head's in it, but last year he had stuff going. I've only ever seen him committed to Madden once, and that was the one where he won all the Super Bowls in the different leagues, except this one, of course. But the one year with Zach, it seemed like he was focused and wasn't switching accounts and all that stuff wasn't going on. He was a dominant player. So I think that's why I have him rated where he is. But usually we get the incomplete Zach. So that's when he's kind of like a fringe, sporadic, but he's a decent player, but he doesn't put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's the real him. I think really is he's good, but you're not going to see that all the time. So we'll see what we get.
We don't know who the real Zach is, for starters. We have no idea. That's a great question, actually. Who is Zach? Who the hell are you? But that's a good question. I think my thing is I've just never seen him do it in Premier. He's done in other leagues. I've been in other leagues. He won Super Bowls in Elite when I was there. Did it in Grid when I was there. Something about Premier. To me, it's kind of like, the lights are shining.
Right. Here's the thing, though, about Grid and Premier. Like, the top people in Grid often were the top people in Premier, at least sometimes. Like, when Zach went undefeated, I think he beat, like, Nard and a couple other people.
He beat me. He beat me in the
playoffs.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, so, there were still Premier guys in there, so I kind of factor that in there.
Yes, but where I disagree is, see, a couple people have never been in there. Sky, Rain,
That's true.
Matt for long periods of time. Apo's never been in there. So it's like it's not the top end that makes it difficult. It's like I don't even want to call them second tier, like 1A tier, the other top guys who were never in there. Because what they do is they make things tougher in the regular season. And in the regular season in a league like Grid's a good league. It's a good league with the top guys. But it doesn't have the second tier guys who can randomly come out there. Oh, suddenly one year they came in second in the division because it's that loaded, and now all of a sudden they can play second place teams. Now they're 15-1 or 14-2, and they've got a 1 seed. You see that happen all the time in here, just because of the pure talent of it all, and it just makes things very interesting. And that's when you get a lot of random stuff happening, and that's when you have a lot of different matchups that you're not really prepared for in the playoffs or in the regular season. Like there's so many different variables here. Like in a league like that, you have to beat like the top 4 guys. I think here you have to be able to beat the top 9 or 10 consistently to win a Super Bowl.
I agree with that because my record between the 2 leagues reflects that, so I can agree with that.
The middle is so much deeper in here. I mean,
Yeah.
there were guys missing the playoffs every year in Premier who would win Super Bowls in other leagues. Sky missed it 1 year. I missed it 1 year. I forget who else. Dub and John always missed, and they're very good users. Well, Dub's okay. I think John's pretty good. Rant missed the playoffs a couple times. Like, think about that. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Like, the fact that Rant that's how tough the NFC was. And so, and it had to happen because it was just a numbers game. There's too many dudes. There's 8, 9, 10 competitors in one conference, and that's the way it's going to be every
I think I even had 10 wins year one last year and missed the playoffs.
Yes, it's stupid. I had 11 and missed. So did Sky. We'd have 11 wins. We'd beat all the lower guys, but you have to beat those top. You got to beat some of the top 6 or 7. Shit's dumb. But yeah. So that's really where I see it. So Zach has to be more consistent to me for me to even consider him to be up there because I think his height, the potential, he can definitely beat us occasionally. Can he do it consistently? Not sure. Real quick, the bottom 5. You have Ron, 71, is the worst user in the league. PMT, 70. PMT and Levon tied at 73. Lewis, 75. Pop and Reagan, 79. I have Ron, 69. Lewis, 72. Lewis, 72. Reagan, 74. Pop, 75. So really, not much difference there. I just didn't have PMT there, but PMT I think was 76 maybe. I didn't have him much higher. So which one of these users do you think has the best chance of getting the hell out of here? This bottom 5, in your opinion?
Probably Reagan. I mean, because I've seen him compete and I've seen him be a playoff team. So he's not really like a bottom 5 type of user.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does have twins and he has a lot going on with that. So I'm sure that plays into it. And Lewis has been in the playoffs for however that happened. I don't know. I don't remember. Levon claims to have made the playoffs before. I don't remember it, but Sky also said he was in there, so I guess he was at some point. I just forgot. And who am I leaving out? PMT. He's a wild card. We'll see if he can recapture his form that he's had before. At least he has playoff experience. I think when I was in that league with him last year, he was in there too. The one where I said I was in the NFC Championship, but that league wasn't very good because I joined it and I won every game and then lost.
Probably honest with you.
I joined it. I think I joined it with 3 losses and I won every game until I lost in the NFC Championship. So that league wasn't that good anyway.
To be honest with you, we all knew it wasn't that good when you said you were in the NFC Championship game. I'm sorry. We kind of just immediately disregarded that as being legitimate. Madden League. Continue, though. Go ahead.
Well, what else? Where was I? PMT. I don't know. He has a chance. Anyone has a chance. That's all you can ask for is having hope.
I disagree. You think Ron has a chance?
Okay, well, maybe he doesn't.
You think Levon has a chance?
If it wasn't for the division, maybe. If he was in the easier one, I don't know, because that's like he has 4 guaranteed losses off the bat, and then Naito wants to beat him, so that could be 6 off the bat. I don't know.
The fact that Naito really wants to be in Levon's division tells me he might not be that good either. If he thinks Levon is competition enough to want to be in his division.
I think they're boys and they just have like a friendly rivalry thing going on.
Say so. Man.
Or they both want an easy user in their division. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Beats me. So last thing, tournament. You guys are all bitching about it. I put up the poll. It got voted on 2 days after. I'm doing it. Fuck off. You know why? I don't know why you guys say you're not buying the game. You know you're buying the game. But whatever.
I don't get what that's about. If they do a 3-day early thing, people are going to have the game 3 days early and all that. They'll have it. They'll have it before. Some people have it. It's not even out yet. So.
One person does. Let's clarify. Not everyone. One person has the game
Well,
already.
he's probably just labbing away and acting like he doesn't care.
He gonna get smoked.
Let's go.
regardless. I want this on the record before we end this podcast. I'm out to beat Juan by 30 if I can. You
All
talk-
right, that is on record.
Yeah, let's all put that, plaster it, save this recording, put it up. I'm trying to beat Juan by fucking 30 because fuck him. I'm out for him. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be geared up for that game. Well, I can't wait. Also, I think there's a good chance, like you said, that he might not be as good. He just doesn't like passing. If it's a passing game, goodbye. He's done. If it's a passing game, probably would be best suited for, honestly, Scott to jump up. Or Randy.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. But thank you guys for listening. This Premier Podcast. The next one probably be coming out. I want to do one right after the tournament that you guys are all complaining about. Stop bitching. Just join the tournament. You'll be fine. Hopefully, you're going to get that started August 12th. I don't know why you guys want to wait till August 25th. Seems like maybe smarter. Just do it August 12th, right after the game comes out, because then it's like an interesting way to scrimmage. Maybe you guys want to lab first before a tournament that doesn't mean anything. Also, what people aren't thinking about is we can do two. There's nothing wrong with doing two tournaments. This really isn't that serious.
Right, we have the activity to handle that. So
We have the activity and we have the people, and I would love to do two quick tourneys. That'd be great. It's 16 teams. The games are going to be done in 3 days. I'm going to Vegas 17th, though, so y'all better hurry the fuck up when we do this shit. But that is all I have to say about that. So for Prod, this was Mason. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe to the channel, by the way. Don't be lazy. Don't be cheap. And get in for updates like this pretty much every week all season.
thanks for listening.